Every marathon has markers. Tonight's Day 4 marker looms large over the remaining 666 players. The money bubble.
I don't care who you are, $20,000 is a lot of money. You can really sense the people that want to make the money and the people that are going to play like I am, who wants to chip up. You can gather a lot of chips.
I mean, sometimes people just will give me chips just because they're just tired of it, you know? So I feel like I can gain an edge in any aspect of the game. I'm gonna take it.
I like to gamble and just make a lot of plays and play a lot of hands. That's how I get a lot of chips.
As this poker marathon reaches the halfway point, focus is at a premium when it's required most.
Whoa. I hope that wasn't on TV, was it?
The last thing you want to do is trip up.
Texas Doyle Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main Event Day 4.
Hi everyone, welcome to Day 4 of the World Series of Poker Main Event. Not just another day here, time to find out which players will make the money.
Day 4, baby, day 4.
4 day for the job.
There we are.
I have no clue. Don't ask me about dating time.
I'm Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. The defending champ continues his back-to-back runs. Former chip leader Maxx Steinberg says he's a great player, Norman.
Well, just because I say I'm great looking doesn't make it true, but maybe Maxx is a great player.
20-something Maxx Coleman on top of the leaderboard to start Day 4.
This Maxx, a great chess player, now figuring out another game.
Norwegian pro Annette Obrestad headlines a tough secondary table.
She was a great poker player before she was 19 when she won the World Series Europe main event.
And you're what, 24 now approximately?
Yeah.
The way I was told was when you're 20s you think you know everything, in your 30s you think you do, in your 40s you realize you have nothing figured out.
Wise words, Adam. Here's someone who knows a thing or two about being wise, Doyle Brunson.
Well, he's approaching his 80s, so he knows twice over that he has nothing figured out.
One player over 1 million chips. That is Maxx Coleman. Steinberg and Van Lyck took turns as Day 3 leaders and remain in the top 10.
Steinberg reached his lofty chip status with his set-over-set knockout of Phil Ivey. 666 players remain. 648 will make the money.
Some notable stacks around the room. Farmer Phil Mater still in it, but he's below average.
You see Melanie Weisner and Rupert Elder there. That's girlfriend, boyfriend, and right now, girlfriend's got most of the chips in this relationship.
Let's jump to an outer table. There's Maxx Steinberg. He and Dick Van Lyck jousting two of the top 5 stacks. Steinberg 3-bet with ace-10, was called by Van Lyck with king-jack in the small blind. Here's the flop. Ace, king, ace. Trip aces for Steinberg. Van Lyck with 2-pair. He checks.
Van Lyck, 54-year-old investor.
Born in Holland, lives in Belgium. They both check. Turn card. Deuce of hearts. Van Lyck does not improve his hand.
He's drawing dead, but he's chewing his gum like he has the best hand.
And he's got chips like he's got the best hand. 25,000.
Maxx calls himself a great player, but his expectation going to every tournament is, I'm not going to cash. Otherwise, he says, you set yourself up for disappointment.
24-year-old bracelet winner just calls.
Now Van Lyck's chewing his gum like he doesn't have the best hand.
River card. Queen of clubs.
I think he still thinks he's good, though.
Van Lyck has been lured into a false sense of security, and he bets 50,000.
I believe Steinberg might be wary Van Lyck has a full house.
Yeah, can't go crazy on that board. He does just call. Maxx paid to see his cards. Turn them up, Dick.
I mean, it's your turn.
Great players know whose turn it is.
Maxx shows the best hand and gets to see Van Lyck's cards.
Van Lyck now chewing his gum like he was bluffing.
Well, he's definitely chewing his gum as though he lost the pot, and indeed, Steinberg stacks the winnings. He's over 1.1 million now.
Great player, chip leader, sharp dresser.
The money bubble is an interesting time at the main event. Pros push amateurs around. Amateurs try to hang around, and hey, we get to talk about it. For those who may not know, what makes the money bubble such a unique event, Norman?
Let me put it in terms you'll understand, Lon. Let's say you broadcast for 3 straight days, blah, 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 in that booming voice, and then on the 4th day, you're told you're not going to get paid a cent. You would faint. No McCarran has ever worked for free. Well, the next 18 players eliminated go home with nothing. The remaining 648 go home with something. Hence, I give you the money bubble.
There's Doyle Brunson. He knows a little something about cashing at the World Series. Kara Scott spoke to him before play began today.
Doyle Brunson is a legend in this game, and you can't say that too much. Here you are, 10 bracelets, 2 of them main event bracelets. Can you start thinking about a 3rd main event bracelet yet, or is it too early?
I think it's a little bit early yet. It's, long way to go. Well, I'm grateful to have the opportunity.
Any plans for today as the bubble approaches? We're starting day 4 so close.
No, I don't pay any attention to that. I just play. It's actually a pretty good time to accumulate some chips because people are trying to hang in.
Okay, well, watch out, players. The man with the most bracelets remaining in the main event is at the feature table with a big stack.
How about that 612,000 strong for Texas Dolly, but as we've seen, a big stack can melt away very quickly. Dan Hicks, Tampa, Florida poker pro, under the gun with a raise to 11,000 with King Queen. Ludovic Lacay, French-born London resident with pocket 7s, calls from Evers, Georgia. Amateur William O'Neill with ace 10. And he kicks it in. Frederick Howling from Sweden folds King Deuce.
This is George Carlin's first main event since he passed away.
That is not George Carlin. That's Stuart Lovelace. He folds. Michael Cloud folds as well. To the button, Michael McLean, a familiar face to TV poker fans, made the main event final table in 04.
He was 9th that year and immortalized for his agony at the 03 main event.
He calls with King Queen suited to Doyle Brunson in the big blind with Queen Jack, and he'll come along.
Bad hand, good price for Doyle, getting 7.5 to 1 on a call there.
Ludovic Lacay checks his cards one more time. We've got 4 players that will see this flop. 8, Jack, 7. Lacay hits a set of 7s. Doyle Brunson with top pair. Doyle checks.
Doyle came in cheap and got what he paid for, a 1% hand.
Dan Hicks checks as well. Now with the set, Lacay.
He was 16th at the 09 main event.
Can't slow play. Too many players in the hand. He bets 26,000. McLean now with a flush draw.
48 years old, part-time player, 8 World Series cashes, short stacked on the money bubble.
Mostly a cash game player now. A few tournaments thrown in. And he shoves all in for his last 114,500.
He pushes on the draw with 22 big blinds left.
Doyle gets rid of his jacks. Dan Hicks.
Not much of a decision here for Hicks.
Folds his air. And now Lacay makes the call with his set. McLean will need to hit a card or go home empty-handed.
I don't want to see that agony of defeat expression again. I want to see Mike McLean's thrill of victory face.
Set of 7.
Lacay ahead with the set.
1 pair would be crazy.
McLean looking for a diamond that's not an 8. The 8 of spades pairs the board. McLean drawing dead and eliminated.
Boy, he busts on the bubble and doesn't even get a river sweat. He should be in agony.
So Mike McLean with the agony of defeat once again here in the main event.
He got to day 4 and nothing to show for it.
What did you have, Doyle?
At the top pair.
Had a jack?
So as Lacay stacks McLean's chips, we are reminded that after so much grinding, it can all end so quickly with a walk out the door empty-handed.
Glad he did that.
Welcome back to the Rio. The money bubble still approaching. 659 players remain right now. 648 guaranteed, almost $20,000.
Is there a place in the Rio I can buy some shorts and a tank top afterwards?
I'm sure if you don't mind us saying World Series of Poker, then you can probably
you
get
also
one.
have to promote this place. Oh, okay, that's the case. Winter jacket and gloves it is.
Back in 2005, the man you just saw, Adam Friedman, played a very memorable hand. Shane Bartholomew all in with a nut flush against Adam Friedman. He holds the second nut flush, considering calling the all in with all the cards having been dealt.
I call.
He makes the call. Bartholomew turns over the nut flush. Wow.
That's what I'm talking about!
Wow, what a blow to Adam Friedman. He is overcome with grief.
You can make one bad mistake.
Friedman's beating himself up unnecessarily.
So good for 3 days.
Friedman managed to recover from that hand and finished 43rd that year in the main event, good for over $235,000.
Friedman at a very tough secondary table and sitting at a very tough spot in the 7th seat, Annette Obrestad.
Super aggressive, super talented, super tough.
Sandwiched between Friedman and Obrestad is pro Yevgeny Timoshenko.
Super methodical, super calculating, not a super stack, slightly below average at the moment.
When I saw Doyle playing the 50K,
Yeah.
I haven't had a dream or premonition about poker in years. I mean, when you're younger, you should do it all the time.
Raised to 11,000.
I swear to God, I had this dream I was going to get heads up with Doyle. Wow. And then it was 100% it was going to happen. And then when he made a major suck-out land on day 2 in the no-limit section, and then I became the chip leader on the first level of the 3rd day, I'm like, it's going to happen.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I just got the wrong tournament. Let's see, bigger first place prize.
Dmitry Ivanov opened up for a raise to 11,000 with a jack deuce of hearts, folded over to Friedman now in the small blind, 6-5 of hearts, and he's going to call.
Adam's a terrific mixed games player. He knocked me out of a World Series horse event 3 years ago with a great call and stud, and I was overcome with grief.
How are you doing today? Oh, no talker. So serious. Why so serious?
Heads up, 6-5 of hearts, jack deuce of hearts. All right, here's the flop. 2 hearts.
I'm going to check it to my friend here.
Both flop a flush draw. Ivanov's is best.
Ivanov does look serious. I think he's bothered by climate change.
They've used up nearly half the hearts in the deck already. Ivanov with 14,000.
I hope this hand doesn't go beyond the river. Friedman might run out of beverage.
Adam casually makes the call.
Friedman won a stud 8 bracelet in 2012 and made 2 World Series final tables this year.
Turn card now. Another 4 actually helps Friedman with chop possibilities. And that's a check.
Adam hoping for a free card while he hydrates.
Check from Ivanov.
Both happy to see a free one.
River card. 9 of diamonds misses both. No chop.
Boy, I believe sipping this much smoothie indicates stress. I once saw Joe Navarro consume a big gulp between the turn and the river, and he didn't have a hand.
Any bet might take this down. Friedman bet 18,000.
Here, Friedman's determined Ivanov doesn't have a hand, and it's a good read.
And Ivanov does fold.
Adam outplayed me in stud, and now he outplays Ivanov in hold'em.
All right, so Friedman collecting chips at a critical juncture here on day 4, up over 300,000.
You know us mixed gamers never bluff.
Adam feeling very comfortable and chatty.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any chance we can get, is Norman in the building today?
Yes.
Tell him to stop by here. We need him here.
This guy's ruthless. He wants to knock me out again.
657 players left, average stack 290,000. We get a look now at a new face of 2013, Blake Yu. He's a former top junior golfer trying to make it now as a poker pro.
My name is Blake Yu. I'm from Pasadena, California, and I'm a professional poker player. I started playing golf when I was around 4. I had a top 10 finish at the Junior PGA Championship one year when I was like 16, and then I won a national tournament in an AJGA event. I believe I was around 150th in the nation under 18. That's about as high as I ever got. I had a lot of friends that were into poker. The competitive appeal, just me competing against other players, it's actually a lot like golf because it's, an individual sport. That appealed to me. Like, I like it when I'm able to take all the credit for winning and I'm able to take all the credit for losing as well. There's no one you can blame but yourself. And I kind of like that aspect of poker and just the cutthroat nature of it. I'm just a very competitive person.
Good golfer, good poker player. He's also trying to be a writer of novels. Now that's tough.
He just shoved for his last 84,000 with pocket eights. Mike Watson on the left with only 86,000 chips has a decision with ace-king suited, and he makes the call to put you at risk.
Bad call. What the heck? I thought you had like seven.
King.
Oh my god. He tanked. That's crazy, man. I thought you had like really bad. Is this the main event? Like
Watson with 7 cashes at this World Series and 2 final tables.
Here's the flop. A set of eights for you. Turn card's a tray. Watson can't win the pot. Blake, you will double up.
There we go. Sweet. Yeah.
That's a dedicated railbird. They're not even in the money yet.
Blake, you that much closer, though.
How nice is that? No sweat.
Blake with 175,000. Watson cut down to just 1,500.
Dude, that was a pretty sweet window. Not him, Blake. Not him. Can I tip you?
Here's a friendly tip, Blake. Wait till the money bubble bursts before promising anyone cash. There often are not words to express the disappointment of busting out before the money bubble, whether late on day 3 or here on day 4. The pain is the same, and it's very real.
It's bad enough to bubble, and nothing's worse than being the bubble boy, and they call you the bubble boy.
Michael Mizrachi could cruise to the money, but that's not his style.
His style is I'm not happy till I have every chip on the table, and then I'll go eat a porterhouse steak for 2.
Rob Salaburu on his way to consecutive main event cashes.
His style is think long, go wrong. He still acts quickly and usually correctly.
Russell Thomas trying to go back-to-back, too.
Boy, Salaburu, Thomas, Greg Merson, and Steve G, 4 Octo-Niners, look like they're headed for the money again.
Back to center stage, the man with the most chips at that feature table, Doyle Brunson, on the verge of another main event cash, but life in Montana is always in the back of his mind.
Chip Reese was my best friend, and he married a girl from here. And he was telling me how beautiful it was and everything, and he invited me to come up one summer, and I came up and spent the summer and just fell in love with the place. I'm from a small town in Texas called Longworth. I saw we'd put up a sign that said, "Long way from Longworth." Well, coming up here is really a break. It's just so laid back, and you rest, go out on the boat, or just go out for a drive.
My dad's a real family man. I don't know if most people realize it, but we really just enjoy being together, whatever we do.
Well, family is very important to me. I think people that don't have family are really missing out on life. I'll stand up, I'll say, well, I'm glad y'all got to see me. That's my signal to tell the family it's time for them to go home. And, you know, and they all laugh because they recognize it now, and they get up and leave. So they put that on the back of the sign as you drive out. Anybody that spends much time here usually falls in love with this place. The quiet and the solitude, it just rejuvenates you. I'm glad y'all got to see me.
Doyle diagnosed in November 2012 with carcinoma, a form of skin cancer. It's his 4th time battling cancer, and he's beaten it every time.
Doyle Brunson with pocket 10s. I wonder if his favorite hand playing Omaha is 10-deuce, 10-deuce. A raise to 12,000.
Doyle's Mount Rushmore of poker players is Johnny Moss, Sailor Roberts, Puggy Pearson, and Chip Reese. Of course, Doyle should be part of any monument to the founding fathers of modern poker.
William O'Neill with pocket queens.
I had the thrill of playing an entire day with Doyle at a World Series Stud 8 event 2 years ago. He came up to me on one of the breaks and told me I played a lot better than he expected, but he said there were 2 or 3 leaks in my game, and if I plugged those, then I could really be a decent player.
2 or 3 only, huh? That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was happy about that.
The amateur with a re-raise to 40,000, no doubt getting Doyle's radar going.
So I ran into Doyle about a week later, and I said, Doyle, you mentioned to me there are 2 or 3 things in my Stud 8 game you could help me with, and he looked at me with a smile and said, oh, you'd have to read my book for that.
Doyle with the lesser pocket pair here needs 28,000 more to call.
Well, I'm not going to give Doyle any tips here. He won't help me. I won't help him.
He does call. He sees O'Neill doesn't have a huge tip stack, but not desperate either, about 275. And there's a queen and the flop, a set for O'Neill.
I also played several times with Doyle's son, Todd Brunson, bracelet winner, great player. When we were in a Stud 8 event this year here, he tweeted he would retire from tournament poker if I outlasted him.
Did you outlast him?
He's still playing.
These 2 players check. Turn card, another queen! O'Neill turns quads.
O'Neill's got quads, Lon. Quads! That's about as fast as you can get them in this game, unless you get them on the flop.
And he's got Doyle betting into him, it looks like. 55,000, what Doyle says.
Well, O'Neill told us Doyle is his favorite player, and you know why? Because Doyle bets into you when you have quads.
O'Neill very proud of his 3 daughters, thinking right now, I'm going to beat Doyle Brunson, kids. There's just a call.
Well, look at that. Hands to the face, trying to conceal his strength. I used to room with Joe Navarro. I should know.
All right. The river card. Boy, if it's a 10, Doyle's in trouble. Now ace of spades. Doyle checks this time.
I suspect O'Neill will bet here, unless he fears quad aces.
Always a possibility in the main event. O'Neill reaching. Stack of orange. That's 20 of them, 100,000.
Half the pot. Texas Dolly doesn't like it much.
Well, Texas Dolly's hand got counterfeit. He's playing the aces and queens with a 10 kicker, and he does fold. And O'Neill, of course, has to show the quads.
That's the unwritten rule of us amateurs. We always show quads.
You weren't afraid of aces? Could have been the table river.
He's willing to take a chance.
I think Doyle folded ace-king.
Doyle thinking I've been beat by quads before and will be again.
If you folded ace-king, I quit right now.
So Doyle slips out of that hand without too much damage. He's heading for a main event cash for a 5th straight decade. His World Series started at Binion's in 1970 and continues here at the Rio in 2013.
The bubble in the main event's a huge thing. There's so many poker players that they don't really play any tournaments the whole year except this.
You just have to take things one hand at a time and just focus on what's going on right now, making the best decision at every individual decision point.
You hear people yelling, screaming, you don't even know if they won like a small pot or a big pot. I mean, these guys come here and, they wear their heart on their sleeve.
All right, here we are, guys. 650 players remain. 648 is the money. This is hand for hand. So at this time, dealers sit down, deal one hand. At the completion, stand up. Start the clock, please.
Here we go. 2 eliminations shy of the money. Minimum payout, $19,106. Each of the 73 tables plays one hand, then pauses until all the action in the room is complete. Rinse and repeat if necessary. Lacay with queen 9 of clubs open for $10,000.
I remember I was on the bubble at my senior prom.
Halling gives up queen 4.
George Carlin is headlining at the Catalina Jazz Club this weekend. Should be a great show.
Some players nervous about playing any hand at this point, wishing for something to fold. It's like a nervous shortstop. Don't hit the ball to me. Doyle Brunson's not one of those. Pocket 7s in the small blind. He calls.
Doyle had that. I've seen pocket 7s before look to him.
Dan Hicks in the big blind comes along with 4 tray for cheap. Why not?
3 players.
All right, 3 to the flop. The money bubble nearing. Trey, Jack, 8. Pocket 7 still good for Doyle Brunson. He checks the best hand. Bottom pair for Hicks.
Hicks final tabled a World Series event in 2006.
What more could he expect playing 4 trade to get bottom pair? He checks. Lacay with a gut shot, bets $15,000.
Lacay won the EPT San Remo event in 2012 for nearly $1 million.
Doyle with the call. Hicks gets out of the way. Get a receipt for your donation, sir.
Doyle doesn't care about the bubble. He's just going to play poker.
Heads up now. Turn card. Deuce of diamonds. Status quo, of course.
I can't believe Doyle's checking back on his hand to see if he's got a diamond. That's something rank amateurs like myself do. Oh, he's Doyle Brunson. It's probably a reverse tell.
Doyle's pocket 7s are best at this point. $35,000 from Tex Dolly.
Yeah, Doyle doesn't care about the bubble. He's just playing poker.
Lacay with the gut shot folds. And so Doyle Brunson, who lost a pot to quads, now gets some back from the French poker pro.
I think a lot of players check fold that board, not Doyle. A very crisp play and read by the 1976 and 77 world champion.
Doyle still with the most chips at this table. Lacay second only to Doyle. All right, let's get to an outer table. Brian Kellogg is all in and behind. Kellogg's opponent, Eddie Sabat, flopped a pair of queens to grab the lead. Kellogg would finish just shy of the money.
Kellogg, an Ohio amateur. Sabat looking for his 6th World Series cash this year.
Turn card. Is a king. He's a big favorite now. Kellogg at risk, but ahead. The rest of the field can hear what's going on.
He's going to have to catch a queen over here, or all-in players going to double up.
The river card. Another 4. Kellogg still with chips and a chance to cash.
I was also on the bubble at my junior year Sadie Hawkins dance.
Kellogg short stack, but still in it. And that is more than Brazilian Yuri Zivalewski can say. The man who knocked out Tony Gregg earlier, now out in 650th.
What goes around comes around. He was a kid with a dream.
All right, we get another look now at Blake Yu in the golf world. The money bubble will be like making the cut, I guess. So far, so good for Blake.
Man, that's 2 games where I can't make the cut.
Greg Merson catching up with folks on the rail.
Actually, it's possible this guy's giving Greg directions to the nearest nosebleed cash game.
I'm down to 15, but I think I'm going to make it.
You are going to one more. Folding aces, baby.
I'm not even going to play aces.
You won't play aces?
No.
Come on, don't say that. Can't do that.
Over now to the table of 3-time World Series bracelet winner Farzad Banyadi, who just called all in on the river against Nick Schwarman. If Schwarman wins, the hand Banyadi will be out and the money bubble will burst. Let's see the cards. Banyadi with a pair of jacks. Schwarman rivered Broadway for the knockout, and we are in the money.
And he's the bubble boy. Bubble boy! Man, a 3-time bracelet winner shouldn't be bubble boy.
He started the hand with 45 big blinds, now must hang around for the ceremony. Farzad Banyadi making the last no-cash walk.
Oh, it looks like the FBI might be getting involved here.
648 players, congratulations, you're all in the money!
Greg Merson, the first main event champ since Joe Hashem to cash the following year. Well done.
Bubble just burst, so it feels pretty good. I was down really short yesterday, so it feels good to be here.
Hey, baby, I made the money. I made the money.
648 players rejoice, while one suffers the cruel fate as Bubble Boy. Back with more Day 4 in a moment.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Well, a busted draw, an inferior pocket pair.
I'm all in.
And G moves all in.
Wow.
I call.
Thomas does find it in himself to call.
I played without fear, and I didn't even think about the money spot. And then looking back, I'm thinking like, you know, I'm really happy with the way I played the main event final table until that one decision at the river on that limit. That's the only, that's the only decision I had a problem with.
And he says that one bad decision has been like an albatross on his back for the past year, but here he is again.
He's one of 4 of last year's Octo Niners still in it this year. G, Merson, Thomas, and Salaburu. Pocket Kings for Jose Manuel Nadal from Mexico City.
Jose and his older brother Santiago both cashing in this main event. Very impressive.
Not Mizrachi-like, but impressive. Open raises to 11,000. Hicks in the small blind. Looks down at pocket jacks.
Ronnie Barda and Christian Harder, both with a record-tying 4th straight main event cash this year. That was most recently done by Chris Bjorn and Diogo Borges in 2011.
This is Hicks's 3rd main event, 2nd main event cash. Poker Pro from Tampa calls.
Robert Turner with 4 straight cashes from 1991 to 94, 10th, 36th, 13th, and 6th. Now that's in fields of under 300, but still some nice numbers.
All right, so Nadal and Hicks, 2 big pocket pairs clashing. Trey 8, Hicks with jacks up, Nadal with kings up, a check from Hicks.
Nadal also cashed in the 2010 main event, finishing 114th.
Nadal loves his hand. And that is 12,500.
Hicks, 41 years old, went to the University of Kentucky on a football scholarship, plays poker now for a living.
Hicks has a good hand, but it's second best at this point. A raise from Hicks to 32.5.
Check raise, maybe pause for concern for the Pocket Kings.
But Nadal putting troops together. He repops it to 66,000, a big moment for Hicks. But how would the man with white magic play this?
All right, I love the way Hicks has played this hand. He's raised it to 32-5 on the flop. Really well done. He's kind of defined his hand. But now that Nadal has re-raised him, Hicks has a chance to get away from this hand, to take the door, to open the door, exit stage left, fold, get out of here. Save $130,000. Take a minute to study, make sure you're right, use some white magic. Fold.
All in.
No fold. He raises Nadal all in and a snap call.
All in.
No white magic for Dan Hicks. Nadal in great shape for the double up. Hicks stands to lose more than 40% of his stack.
Yeah, Dan better hope he finds any kind of magic on the turn or river. All right, here is the turn. It is a king, and that will end it. Nadal turns kings full. A tough break for Hicks and the jacks. Nadal over 350,000.
Phil Hellmuth would have saved $130,000 on that one if he were Dan Hicks, third base coach.
Hicks surrendered almost half of his stack. He sits right now with about $195,000 after that loss. All right, let's get away from the feature table, go out into the field, and there you see on the graphic, one-time, big-time chip leader Mark Kroon down to $214,000 at the moment. Back to the table of Max Steinberg on the right. He flopped jacks up. He's a huge favorite over the nines up of Augie Spets, a Norwegian pro who just saw Max bet $22,000.
Spets, a former IT manager.
Spets makes the call.
Steinberg holding on to that roller coaster again.
Turn card 5 of hearts. 3 hearts on board now.
I like Max in purple.
He checks in purple. And a check from Spets. River card. 6 of clubs. Jacks up, the best hand for Steinberg.
Great players value bet the river here. And Steinberg, as we know, is a great player.
$50,000, and he will tell you that he's a great player.
Come behind there. Come behind. What do you think? You think I'm behind? Maybe. What do you want? We can't flip against it. Flip for a call or not?
That seems like a sound plan.
You want to do the flip? Television?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, for fun. We're making the flip.
It's getting serious. Okay. Taking the hat off.
What? That's a bad flip. It's my decision.
Yes.
It was all Translation.
Let's see it. I think you have it.
That was a no-look call. Bad decision, bad coin flip.
And that coin flip may have earned Max an extra $50K there.
Hope he doesn't buy cars that way.
And entertained Max Steinberg back in the chip lead. He and Maxx Coleman have been trading that top spot.
That's exactly the hand I had you on.
Then why'd you call?
Yeah, but you know, what do you do with 10 sticks?
Spets lost almost 20% of his stack, but still sits with 100,000 more than the chip average.
It was a bad call. It's often wrong when you think you're behind. I know.
All right, let's catch up with current world champ Greg Merson in the money again with ace-queen off. He just called the shove of Mike Watson, who had rebuilt his stack to 31,000. He holds deuces. All right, here's the flop with Watson at risk. And there's an ace for Merson. Watson in a deep hole.
That's a main event champ flop.
Turn card. Tray of clubs. Watson misses down to his final opportunity.
I get to see it last.
Watson's got to have a deuce.
The river card is the deuce. Watson hitting the 2-outer.
Watson sticks around. Merson doesn't seem to mind.
And Watson has life left in him, down to 1,500. He's up to 73,000 now. Well, it always stings to lose a pot, but maybe not if you're Greg Merson. He's got over 100 big blinds and very comfortable here on day 4 of the main event. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. Mike Gordinsky overcame an 8-1 chip deficit heads up against Christopher Tong to capture victory in the $2,500 Omaha 8 and Stud 8 tournament.
It feels awesome. I've been thinking about it since I was 21, and it feels cool to finally do it.
The $1,500 Millionaire Maker event lived up to its name as over 6,300 entries created a prize pool of more than $8.5 million. Everyone at the final table guaranteed a six-figure payday, but it was champion Benny Chin who won 7 figures, nearly $1.2 million, and the gold bracelet.
It's pretty surreal. So my first tournament win, first live tournament win, is the bracelet win, so gotta like that.
Prior to the main event, 4 millionaires were crowned at this year's World Series. Tony Gregg won $4.8 million at the one-drop high roller. The last main event winner that won less than $1 million, Mansour Matloubi, nearly 25 years ago.
FYI, Michael Mizrachi, the only player with $3 million plus paydays in World Series history.
Yevgeny Timoshenko at the secondary feature table, one of the more talented players on the poker circuit these days, came here from Ukraine at age 8 and has amassed nearly $5 million in tournament earnings, not including online play.
Some of you might remember him from his runner-up finish to Jake Cody in the 2011 World Series 25K heads-up event. He recently took some time off from poker to get his mind right, and he loves to play basketball to stay in shape.
Just above the chip average right now. Ike Haxton also at this table with a smaller than average chip stack. So you put Timoshenko, Haxton, and Obrestad together, and it is one tough table. Yevgeny with pocket tens.
As soon as I saw Timoshenko here at the main event, I immediately sent Marc-Andre Ledessour a Dear John letter.
Timoshenko with a raise to 11,000. Annette Obrestad, who won the first World Series Europe main event in 07, folds.
Talking about recent World Series millionaires, of course, the biggest paydays here ever. Antonio Esfandiari, $18.3 million for the 2012 one-drop, and Jamie Gold, $12 million for the 2006 main event.
Folded to Adam Friedman in the big blind with pocket fours. He calls for 6,000 more.
$8.3 million goes to the main event champ this year.
Here's the flop. 5-5 trade. Timoshenko's bigger pocket pair still in front. Friedman checks.
I like his look.
These two very close in chip stacks. Yevgeny with 12,005 here.
Adam looks thirsty.
No big gulp by his side. He has calling chips.
Yeah, but this call is not rife with confidence.
Turn card, ace of clubs. Friedman picks up a gut shot and checks.
Jason Mercier calls Timoshenko one of the best no-limit hold'em players in the world.
He checks back. River card, another. Trey Friedman fails to run down Timoshenko. And checks again. Yevgeny.
Great players make great value bets. Timoshenko will try for some value right here.
Not too much, not too little. 18,000.
And Friedman seems rather beflummoxed. I know what it's like to be rather beflummoxed.
Paid off one hand 3 days. This might be the second. Oh, Lord.
A call. And the pocket tens will win it.
Knew it was an ace. That's good. That's him.
Nice. Wow, that's a hell of a bet.
Friedman takes the hit with a smile.
I'm just debating whether I had you pipped or not. I can go back and forth.
Timoshenko, no smile as he stacks his winnings up to 355 now. The field right now on the bottom rung of the pay ladder. The first pay bump worth more than $2,300. To our featured table, Frederick Howling. Queen 10 of spades.
Howling's hobbies are travel, sports, nightlife, and poker. He looks like his hobbies are travel, sports, nightlife, and poker.
He raises to 10,000.
George Carlin plays surprisingly by the book.
Michael Cloud in the small blind. First timer at the World Series, works in technology consulting back home in Illinois with Ace King.
Cloud grew up playing bridge, cribbage, poker, and pool. He looks like he grew up playing bridge, cribbage, poker, and pool.
A re-raise to 27,500. Now back to Howling. And he wants to see a flop.
27?
27.5.
17.5 more. And he'll get to see a flop. Cloud and Howling. All right, here's the flop. And there's a king in the window. Top pair for Cloud, a flush draw for Howling.
This could be like an action movie. Well, maybe not.
Cloud is a big Blackhawks fan, honoring their Stanley Cup championship by growing his own playoff beard during the main event. Bets $27,000.
Howling, 297th at the 2008 main event.
Howling with the flush draw. And those are calling chips.
He doesn't step out of line there with the draw.
Turn card, 9 of diamonds. Pair of kings for Cloud, still best. Howling picks up a double gutter.
Yeah, Cloud still in good shape with top pair, top kicker, but Howling's outs are growing.
Cloud bets $50,000 this time.
Howling getting better than 3-1 on a call here. He's not going anywhere.
He is one of the bigger stacks at this table, can afford to try and get lucky. He does make the call. Now the river card. It is a jack, and Howling is rewarded, rivering a straight. Whew. And now Cloud slows down.
Howling has the nuts, Lon. The stone cold nuts, hand delivered on the river in the gut.
Of course, he had to be there on the river. His perseverance paid off, and he bets $100,000.
Oh, and Cloud shoots Howling and Ushka. Ushka, look. That bet bothering Cloud as it should.
Michael Cloud with top pair, top kicker.
He checked the river so he can get away here without further damage. But with top pair, top kicker, he may not want to get away.
And the nuts straight.
Cloud pays him off. Howling will stack the winnings. Cloud gives up almost 2/3 of his chips. So Frederick Howling with a nice pot. He has the most chips at this feature table. Everyone in the room guaranteed a minimum cash now, but it's the big dollars at the end of the rainbow that Cloud, Howling, and the rest of the players are after. And 585 players remain. Maxx Steinberg, the current chip leader. Let's get back to the secondary table. Big-time poker pro Ike Haxton with ace-jack just got re-raised pre-flop by the pocket queens of Pennsylvania native Eric Rappaport.
Rappaport graduated from Delaware Valley College. I believe they are the Horned Frogs.
Action on Haxton now. And with ace-jack, he will make the call. So everyone in the money. The agenda now is to stick around long enough to make the big bucks. The flop is 8-7 tray. Rappaport's pocket queens hold up for now.
Rappaport loves to bowl on. We got to like him for that.
We love him for that. And with his pocket queens, the best hand, he bets $23,000. Haxton now.
Haxton just looks like he knows what he's doing, other than the wedding ring.
Well, he does know what he's doing. Over $6 million in live poker earnings. He makes the call.
And he went to Brown, so he's well educated.
Indeed. Lives in Malta now, so he can play online poker. Turn card, deuce of hearts. Rappaport's still good.
This is Rappaport's first main event. Haxton finished 94th in the 2007 main event.
No bet from Rappaport that time. And Haxton says, sure, I accept charity. River card, 9 of spades. Rappaport has the best hand. Rappaport checks again.
Well, it looks like Haxton's going to try to steal it now. These two actually only have one pair of glasses between them. They are secretly trading during the hand.
70,000, quickly called by Rappaport, and he will take the winnings.
The 23-year-old with that quick call got exactly what he wanted. And Ike Haxton right now not in the best position to be bluffing off chips.
Yeah, his stack cut nearly in half. All right, let's jump from the secondary table to the outer tables back to Blake Yu, who holds the pocket queens. That will try to eliminate Rory Reese Brennan, who was all in with ace-jack.
Brennan also cashed at the 2010 main event.
Waiting for the flop. Brennan at risk. Trade 10-10. Blake Yu still ahead. Brennan missed that flop.
That face is the main event blues.
Indeed. Turn card, 8 of clubs, no help. Rory Reese Brennan needs to bring it.
Brennan's got to have an ace on the river.
The river card, the 5 of spades ends the main event for Rory Reese Brennan.
Oh, yeah. My eyes are not very good. So
Brennan gets knocked out in 585th place, worth over $19,000. So as Rory makes his exit, Blake Yu, who's more used to chipping in, is now starting to chip up here on day 4. Blake sits with about 20% more than the average stack.
Professional railbirding might be the wave of the future.
2 Maxes book in the top 10. Steinberg is on top.
Sometimes Max Steinberg calls with Jack high, and sometimes he plays great poker. He's the king of the hill at the moment. While one of the legendary kings of the game, Doyle Brunson, is still in the hunt for a 3rd main event title.
The World Series of Poker main event is full of talented players.
Cools down when you get more chips.
But there's only one legend left. Don't take our word for it. Listen up.
Doyle's the man. He's a legend, and most poker players should look up to him.
Doyle is probably the biggest legends in poker.
Doyle Brunson is the man. I mean, this is the godfather of poker.
He's a hero. He's a great guy. He's funny.
He's an amazing guy.
Doyle Brunson won main events before most of this field was born. Now, at the age of 79, he attacks day 4, hoping for his 3rd main event bracelet.
I play on instinct. I always have, and it seems to serve me pretty well, so I'm going to continue to do so.
Texas Doyle Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event day 4.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event. Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Day 4 in full swing as we head straight to a developing hand with Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, the former dominating stack, now living precariously. Grinder with trip 7s, but outkicked by Brian Bonacour's better trip 7s. Brian just put Mizrachi all in.
Yeah, the Grinder has kicker problems here.
Michael shows his 7 and a tournament-saving fold for Mizrachi.
Who's your kicker? Don't kick your board.
Poker 101. Don't let your opponent know he made a good fold. Brian shows the best hand, and Grinder feels better about himself.
Bonacour picks up an extra $100,000. Grinder took a hit, but he still has his seat in the main event. All right, let's check around the room now. 24-year-old Maxx Steinberg felted Phil Ivey on his way to the chip lead.
Phil Ivey? He's dead to me.
Defending chip Greg Merson representing Maryland well.
Merson also represents Ivy Poker, and Phil Ivey is dead to me.
Steve G gunning for back-to-back final tables.
Phil Ivey made the main event final table once, but now he's dead to me.
And there's Doyle Brunson, who has made back-to-back main event final tables.
His first main event final table in 1976. Phil Ivey was born in 1976. Now he is dead to me.
7 players over 1 million. No one with a bigger stack than Maxx Steinberg. 584 players left. Average stack nearly 11 times the starting stack of 300. Plenty of notables still left. Mark Kroon in a swoon. Farmer Phil Mader needs a new crop of chips.
Greg Mueller hoping to continue Canada's extraordinary summer at this World Series. Melanie Weisner, one of a handful of women still in the field.
Another one is Norwegian pro Annette Obrestad, headlining the secondary feature table.
The youngest bracelet winner ever, just shy of 19 when she won in Europe.
She's got a tough opponent there in Yevgeny Timoshenko.
Is he good looking, or do I need a new eyeglasses prescription?
Interesting table dynamics here, Norman. No huge stacks. Seems prime for someone to assert themselves. Could it be Timoshenko?
With Annette Obrestad on his left, in a word, Lon, no.
Annette, the second biggest stack at this table.
I expect her to have all the chips in the next 7 minutes or so.
And of course, don't forget about 27-year-old Brown University grad Ike Haxton, feared by even the top pros.
He has a degree in philosophy, which is absolutely useless on or off the poker table.
Haxton folds 9-7 over to Adam Friedman. Queen 6 of diamonds for the pro.
43rd at the 2005 main event, 2012 bracelet winner.
He's from Columbus. Raised to 12,000 to Timoshenko now. King Jack of Hearts.
He apparently left his blow dryer at home in Seattle.
Timoshenko got off on the right foot in his career, winning his first ever live poker tournament as a 19-year-old. He calls. Annette Obrestad with pocket deuces. Had some early success too, as you mentioned, winning that main event title at age 18. Turned 19 while celebrating. She calls. Now to Vimy Ha in the big blind. Pocket aces. Hello.
Ha double majored at Rice University in mathematical economic analysis and studio art, which leads him to picking up pocket aces at this precise moment.
Currently a 37-year-old Brooklyn software consultant. A lot of action in front of him. And he's going to re-raise it to 28,000.
Yeah, that re-raise should clear out all the crumb bums and shoe clerks.
That's exactly what he wants to do, and Friedman obliges now to Yevgeny.
Yeah, but Yevgeny may be thinking he's not a crumb bum or a shoe clerk.
Nobody would put him in that category. He is caught in the middle here, though. But he's not worried. He calls.
And Annette now getting almost 6-1 to see a flop.
And she puts in 16,000 more. Will join the three-way party. All right, here's the flop. And it is 10, queen, 9, and that is the sound of cracking aces. Timoshenko flops a straight.
Wow.
Vimy checks.
In 2009, Timoshenko won the WPT's most prestigious event and online poker's most prestigious title.
Annette waiting for Timoshenko to act, and he does take his time. No slow play, 38,000. Annette folds.
Ha knows that board could very well connect with a hand in Timoshenko's range.
Aces look so small sometimes. Vimy Ha makes the call.
Yeah, they're pretty small, Lon. Pocket aces right now a 4% hand.
All right, heads up. Turn card. Jack of clubs opens the door to a possible higher straight for Ha.
Yeah, another scare card on that board. Timoshenko could easily have him beat.
Check. Ha checks it. Timoshenko shuts down.
Timoshenko might be worried. Ha check call to flop with ace-king.
Blank on the river. Ha left with his pocket aces and bets 57,000.
Ha with a defensive bet there with those pocket aces.
I call.
A call. Ha shows his aces, only to be shown the winning straight. So Ha loses a chunk, but still owns a very workable bank of chips. Timoshenko gets a little healthier.
Decent flop. That turn card. Yeah. Decent flop.
Now that could have been a lot worse for Ha. He and Timoshenko now with almost identical stacks.
Yevgeny Timoshenko is part of the new breed of poker player, smart, methodical, and of course young. Doyle Brunson is smart, but methodical was never something he was accused of. So what gives Norman? What style works in this event?
Having never played the main event, I am uniquely qualified to answer this. Yes, there are benefits to a methodical style. Aside from tilting your opponents, you might need the extra time to come up with the right play. But there is such a thing as overthinking in poker. Does he know that I know that he knows that I know? To be honest, I never know. Well, Doyle Brunson has trusted his instinct for 60 years, and he's doing just fine.
And Doyle still doing just fine. The current payout for Texas Dolly and the others remaining is $21,495. 2012 champ Greg Merson, he and opponent Nick Schwarman flopped straight draws. Nick the top end, Greg the bottom end.
Schwarman, 25-year-old Orlando pro.
Greg Merson with a bet of 22,000.
Schwarman was second in a no-limit hold'em World Series event this year.
And 22,000 is the call.
I wouldn't have bet there, and I wouldn't have called there. And that's why I reside in the booth, sitting on my hands and taking in Lon McCarron's delicious aftershave.
Turn card 5 of hearts. That pairs Merson and gives him the advantage now.
Merson currently clean 19 months and counting from his drug addiction.
46,000 this time after the turn. Schwarman picked up a flush draw.
Schwarman and his brother build supercars. Those are high-priced sports cars that sell in the low six figures. Who builds supercars in their spare time? Where do you buy an assembly line?
Schwarman with straight and flush draws. May figure it's worth it to stick around. And he does call.
Yeah, he is pretty sticky. But if Nick thinks Merson is posturing, why doesn't he just pop him and try to end matters?
Good point. To the river they go. Queen of clubs. So Schwarman's draws come up empty. Merson is best. He checks.
Merson ends up with bottom pair. Schwarman ends up with squad douche. But I think Schwarman's stick-to-itiveness might pay dividends. He kept calling with jack high. And it looks like he's going to bet the river with nothing. And what can Merson beat? Nothing but jack high.
67,000 from Nick.
I call.
And Greg calls. And Schwarman mucks without even showing.
Boy, on a 6-8-7-5 queen board with 3 hearts, when I have 5 deuce and someone bets, calling is about the 98th thing I think about doing.
Merson crosses over the 600,000 chip mark. And look at that. The pair of 5s take down Schwarman, who's still left with 1.1 million. He's all right.
Maybe 2013 should be like 1970. Let's take a vote and give Merson the main event bracelet on that call alone.
Merson getting props from the rail. All right, let's go to the featured table. Doyle Brunson with king high is jousting with the queen high of Steve G after an ace-ace tray flop.
Steve G was the oldest at last year's main event final table. Of course, here at age 58, he is 21 years Doyle's junior.
Brunson putting chips together to bet. And that is 20,000. And now Steve G makes the call.
Doyle tried to pick up the pot right there, and Steve said, no, sir.
Turn card, another tray. Brunson still good. Checks this time.
Steve G, 2010 bracelet winner.
Trying to get back to the final table. He's got to go through Doyle Brunson right now. G bets 45,000.
And now G will try to pick up the pot right here. But Doyle's instinct tells him king high might be the best hand. I think Doyle buys instinct at Costco because he seems to have a lifetime supply of it.
There is the call. He has G out chipped by 100,000 plus.
What, Steve G think he's playing with kids here?
Another tray. That puts a full house on the board. Both would play the board in a showdown. Doyle checks.
Maybe G will bet to represent an ace in this hand. It's almost like he's on a free roll if he figures they're chopping the pot.
He thought about it for a second. He reached for those orange chips, but then he looked into those eyes. There's the check. Chop it up.
Doyle shows, and Steve kind of slow rolling his chop pot.
Steve shows queen of clubs, 10 of clubs.
Damn, Doyle, what are you trying to do to me?
What are you trying to do to yourself?
Just be thankful that tray came, but all I can tell you.
I'm not going to live very long playing with you, Doyle. Huh? Yeah, I got a bad heart. I got to play with Doyle.
Probably a good thing you didn't bet.
Oh, I got a flush straight draw, right? What I got?
You got nothing.
Damn.
Picked up the club draw on the turn, but it's just 3.
That's good call on the turn, though.
Doyle Brunson proving that at age 79 his skills and reads are razor sharp.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Back on day one, Ty Stewart, executive director of the World Series of Poker, unveiled a bronze bust of Texas Dolly and presented him with a main event entry.
Brunson and Bill Boyd, the only players ever to win World Series bracelets in 4 consecutive years.
Doyle, I promise not to do that anymore.
I get hard-headed sometimes.
Impressed by the hand before the break? Let's hear what Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke thought about Doyle's check call with king high.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the legend, Doyle Brunson.
That's 79, showing all of us younger players how it's done, and it's incredible. I mean, he plays the hand great. On the turn, he realizes, hey, that's a dry board. I have king high. I'm still good. I'm going to call. I'm holding on. This is just great poker.
Right. I mean, at 79 years old, he has the courage to hold on with king high because he knows it's good. You have to give the guy a lot of credit. My hero to start playing poker, my hero today, and hopefully one day at your age, Doyle, I can play like you.
Awesome. Awesome. Homage to Doyle Brunson. Yeah.
The 1976 and 77 champ nearly won a 3rd main event title in 1980. He finished runner-up that year to Stu Unger.
All right, let's jump to the secondary table where Annette Obrestad is hoping her ace-queen can run down the pocket jacks held by Fort Lauderdale main event rookie casher Bradley Rubin.
Rubin, a poker pro with a master's degree in international business from the University of Florida.
Here is the flop, and there is a queen top pair for Annette to take the lead.
Ace, queen, and pocket jacks, Lon. Two hands we hate, one of them's got to win.
It would be fitting to have running diamonds come, and then they chop the pot. Turn card. King of hearts, Rubin with a gut shot now.
So now Bradley Rubin looking for a jack or a 10 to keep his main event alive.
Annette hoping to avoid danger on the river and score the knockout. Rubin looking for help. Another 9 will not be enough to save Bradley Rubin from elimination. Rubin out in 500 first place. Players falling quickly. Annette stacks the winnings. It's been 6 years since she won the first ever World Series Europe main event bracelet, and a lot has changed since then.
Thinking back to 07 when I won, it was really weird for me because I wasn't used to being in the spotlight at all. Figuring out like how to deal with that without it changing you in a way was very challenging. Now at least I'm at a stage where, you know, whatever you throw at me, I'm gonna be a lot more prepared. In the last 15 months or so, I've started getting more healthy, I guess. I started working out slowly and, you know, counting calories and just being better about it because I was always not very healthy, but it's just because I didn't know any better. I wasn't informed, like nutrition, didn't know anything about it. I ate kind of what I wanted. I didn't eat a lot, like I would eat maybe twice a day, but what I would eat would just be like horrible food. I'm just in a happy place.
Good to be Annette.
Sure is. No complaints. I'm gonna be playing well, and I have probably a better chance now than ever to do good.
She lost more than 30 pounds, and she also shed some of her arrogance around others. To her credit, Annette's table countenance much better these days.
Also, it should be noted that we give props to a lot of male players who dress well when they play poker. Annette may be the best-dressed poker player around right now. She calls an opening raise of 12,000. Adam Friedman with King 10 of clubs. Annette with Ace 10 offsuit. Vimy Ha in the big blind with 9-6.
Ha married with a young daughter and says having a child has influenced his poker game because he doesn't take as many risks anymore. Maybe he needs a second child so he doesn't call with 9-6 off.
Jack 4-10. King 10 officially in trouble against Obrestad's Ace 10. Vimy Ha missed and checks. Friedman with middle pair and a king kicker. Bets 12,000.
Annette always looks like she's waiting on you. The kind of driver who anxiously wants that light to turn green, and when it does, honks immediately if you don't move. You know, assuming there are cars in Norway.
Annette calls. Vimy Ha gives up his hand. Heads up now.
One thing about Annette that hasn't changed, sunglasses indoors.
Turn card is an ace. Ace is up now for Obrestad. A check from Friedman.
It's easy to forget she won her bracelet at age 18. At 18, I was still rifling through my mother's purse for a few extra bucks. Sorry, Mom.
Annette with 28,000 into the middle, testing Adam now.
Well, even if Adam loses his hand, give him credit. The beard is very well groomed.
Friedman now with a Broadway draw and that 10. Who's going to come along to see the river?
Obrestad, a huge favorite here.
River card. 8 of spades. Friedman comes up with a lot of nothing. He checks.
Annette used to be a very methodical player, not as much anymore. She's picked up the pace of her live game.
And we see her stare daggers into Timoshenko when he takes his time. Annette bets 57,000.
Adam's better at mixed games. His bracelet is in stud 8, but he ends up playing a lot of Hold'em where he lives in Columbus, Ohio, because that's all they have there, and he's pretty good at it.
Adam will give up the second best hand. Nice fold. And Annette will soak the chips in.
Adam not sure if he should have laid that one down.
Annette Obrestad now with the most chips at this secondary featured table. And just like that, Annette sits with more than $750,000. Healthy lifestyle, very healthy stack. You are watching day 4 of the World Series of Poker Main Event. Quickly to an outer table. Michael Mizrachi all in for 41,000.
Let me jack this pot, please.
He's got King Jack versus the Ace King of Paul Taylor to his left.
That could have been worse.
Yeah, Grinder picks up a gut shot.
10 of clubs.
Nope, 7 of clubs.
And Jack.
10 Jack or Grinder is whamboozled.
The river card, the 5 of diamonds, and oh, how the mighty fall.
See you, bud.
Once had a real big stack.
Michael Mizrachi knocked out at the 2013 main event in 473rd place.
He's had $3 million paydays at World Series events. 24 grand seems like gas money.
Back to the feature table where Doyle has a new group of players to school, including Chris Johnson with the most chips of them, and 2012 Octo Niner Rob Salaburu.
How old are you? How old are you?
73.
You're 83? I would have guessed 50. 80?
Yeah.
That's 73-year-old Bob Bright from Las Vegas with ace-7 of hearts.
Bright, CEO of Bright Trading LLC, with a couple of World Series final tables.
13.
Opens the pot to 13,000. German student Tim Ulrich, 9 deuce off. Thanks for showing us. And folds Sarah Herzali from Marseille, France.
Where did she come from? I had not been notified of this.
2 black aces to match her outfit.
Nice hand, nice outfit.
Herzali with the striking red nails puts together a re-raise. 29,000 now. On the button, Sergei Stashkov folds. Chris Johnson with pocket kings.
Pocket kings and a backward baseball cap, a recipe for disaster. Who is this woman? Are they filming a Bond movie at the main event? And this is a James Bond type of hand, aces versus kings.
Johnson from nearby Henderson, a poker pro, re-pops it to 58,000. Doyle Brunson now 9-6 off. Wants to play that hand, but he folds. Now back to Bright, the original raiser.
Well, as we say in the options trading business, too rich for his blood.
Back to Herzali with the aces.
If Sarah loses this hand, she might poison her chips.
Oh boy, she is moving all in. And a snap call from Johnson. Herzali at risk with the best hand in the game.
Well, easy call for Johnson, but he's crushed. Johnson having a great summer. 7 cashes here, 2 final tables.
I feel like 4 hearts are going to come out.
I sat here and had the hands all day yesterday. I made a pair.
Nobody wants to hear it, Pops.
All right, aces versus kings. Here's the flop. And there is an ace. Herzali's stock zooms even further.
The Bond girl is going to double up.
That gives Sarah a set of aces.
Johnson needs runner. Turn card 8 of spades. Johnson loved the kings until showdown, and then he had to double up Herzali.
I'm now told she also played in the main event in 2011. Doesn't seem possible. I was unaware.
Johnson no longer the big stack at this table. Herzali doubles to almost 300,000.
All that came from 9,000 too, by the way. She's down to, I remember.
You're down to 9,000?
8.
8?
You done better.
No way. That's awesome.
All in for 132,000.
This is actually her 3rd World Series cash, including a 48th place finish in the ladies event in 2011.
Age is a very obvious divide at this table. 7 players under 30, 2 over 70. The average age of this year's main event entrant was 38.
Johnny Moss was the oldest main event champion, just a week shy of his 67th birthday in 1974. You know, Doyle's got 10 bracelets, but I claim he only has 9.5 because he won the mixed doubles event with Starla Brody in 1979.
We'll keep it here at the feature table. Ulrich open raise with 9-6 off. Doyle in the small blind has pocket 10s, made the call. Salaburu comes along with ace-10 off.
If they bring back mixed doubles, Lon, you and I should enter together.
I had another woman in mind, actually. 8-6 deuce. Doyle Brunson still best with his pocket 10s.
Good for you.
He checks. Salaburu with 2 overs to the board, bets 25,000. Quickly, Ulrich with middle pair.
Salaburu wasting no time bluffing. Ulrich cashed in a World Series event last year. Reminds me a bit of Eli Manning.
25,000 is the call. Brunson now.
You know, Salaburu and Ulrich's combined age is 53. Coincidentally, that's the exact number of prescriptions Doyle has had filled this week.
Oh.
Well, this is a great board for pocket 10s and a great time for Texas Dolly to check raise.
Quick fold. Doyle Brunson will take down that pot. He's trying to rebuild his stack. Day 4 has been a bit of a stumbling block for Doyle Brunson so far. He sits on 400,000. And everyone loves to see Doyle take a pot.
I love that smile.
Number one.
First pot of the day?
I think it is.
To the outer tables, early main event chip leader Mark Kroon is all in.
I'm pretty good at this. I just wanted you to know. It's usually the 10 of hearts.
Mark dominated by Aditya Agarwal.
I'm actually going to count my chips because I'm doubling up here.
Both paired their jack on the flop.
I have that much confidence in this. 10 of hearts, please.
Tray of clubs.
It's usually on the river the 10 of hearts comes. Not the 10 of clubs, the 10 of hearts.
Kroon needs a red 10.
Thank you. 10 of hearts.
Blackjack. Kroon comes up empty and knocked out of the main event.
To the rise and fall of Mark Kroon, chip leader to start days 2 and 3, gone here on day 4.
Right here.
Kroon heads for the payout cage while Philly resident Agarwal sits with over 1 million chips, almost 300,000 of those from Mark Kroon.
It was such a whirlwind tournament, you know, being chip leader the first 2 days. You know, I wouldn't take anything back. It was just great. 2013 in the books. Be back next year. Chip leader for sure next year, day 1. Thanks a lot, guys.
He accumulated, he entertained, and now Mark Kroon is gone.
It's been a record-breaking year for the World Series of Poker. Players from 106 different nations traveled from all over the world to come and compete for bracelets in Las Vegas. There were nearly 80,000 different entries into 62 events, which raised a prize pool of over $197 million. And we still have a few players left in who are hoping to make their own history. 4 of last year's final 9 are hoping to go back-to-back final tables for the main event of the World Series of Poker. Now that would be unprecedented given the field sizes. Those players are Stephen G., Russell Thomas, Greg Merson, and sitting at the feature table behind me, Robert Salaburu.
Rob enjoying the third cash of his World Series of Poker summer. He had a handful of small cashes in between last November and this World Series. Action on Tim Ulrich, ace, queen of spades under the gun.
This has been a throwback year for the World Series. Past champions re-emerging. Daniel Negreanu won his 5th bracelet in Australia. David Chu won his 5th. Mike Matusow, Daniel Olai, and Tom Snyder all with their 4th bracelets. Jeff Madsen with his 3rd.
And Phil Ivey won his 9th.
He is dead to me.
Wow, he's really dead. Doyle Brunson folds Salaburu now with pocket deuces. Calls for 12,000. I can't keep up with the action with Rob there. Santiago Nadal in the big blind.
How do you like it on TV?
Whatever, dude. I don't care.
Did you like it in November?
I mean, honestly, I'd rather not. Just run it without it. Be a lot better.
That was a needle. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. That was funny.
Really?
I didn't laugh, though.
You weren't laughing.
Nadal and his brother Jose, both still alive at this main event. That's a wonderful story to take back to Mexico.
Nadal wants to change the conversation. A re-raise to 38,000.
How much you play behind?
250.
150?
250.
250. One ace queen likes it better than the other ace queen.
Salaburu with the deuces, a favorite right now. Ulrich calls for 26,000 more.
Salaburu known for 2 things: catchphrases like "you lost, bro" and "huevos rancheros," and quick decision making, both of which we like a lot.
And okay, flop me a deuce, dealer.
Well, he's got 4 to 1 on a call there, looking for a set or maybe some other solution to the hand.
All right, here's the flop. And there is a deuce for Salaburu.
And Salaburu staring down that board. It's a friendly board, bro.
Well, the zeros on the percentage mark for Nadal and Ulrich, not good. But Nadal reaching for chips. 51,000.
How much?
Ulrich folds. So Nadal now with a 2% chance with Ulrich out of the hand.
104.
A raise from Rob to 104.
A min raise would have been 102, but he's charging Nadal an extra 2,000 for holding on to the drawstring of his hoodie. Or maybe Rob's math is just bad and he thought 51 times 2 is 104.
Nadal needs a big chunk of his stack to make this call. He better be committed.
Yeah, I don't think Nadal wants to tell his brother that he made a stand when his ace-queen missed the flop.
Not much in that stack. And he says, well, I tried. Go ahead and take it, Rob.
Salaburu will take it. but he probably thought Nadal's hand was stronger than it was, and he'd get at least a call there.
Rob up to 454,000. Nadal's stack shrinking as he's down to just 26 big blinds now.
So why does Salaburo act so quickly? He says he's learned not to go against his first instinct, so he doesn't. Plus his style sometimes tilts his opponents.
Of the 441 players remaining, 3 have won main events: Doyle Brunson, Greg Merson, and Carlos Mortensen. At an outer table, his short stack Carlos just raised to 18,000 with ace-8 off. With 9-8 of diamonds, Ami Alabay is calling from the big blind.
Alabay, a Montreal nightclub and restaurant owner.
But he was born in Madagascar. All right, here is the flop. 9-8-4, top 2 pair for Alabay. He checks. Mortensen with middle pair moves all in, and he's called.
Yeah, the 2001 champ with just 6 big blinds left, and he just ran into a really bad spot.
No help on the turn. River card is an ace, and Carlos in the nick of time will win the hand. Aces up, gives him the double up.
Wow, the Matador gets gored and survives.
Mortensen with 120,000 chips saved in dramatic fashion. Another main event bracelet still a possibility, but he has a long climb ahead of him. A look at Binion's Casino, original home to the World Series of Poker back in 2003. That's where Chris Moneymaker and probably won the main event.
2003, there is some accountant from Tennessee that no one's ever heard of. And I'm like, what's your name? He's like, oh, Chris Moneymaker. So we get it into a really big hand. I've got king, queen off suit.
The flop's down 9-2-5.
Not the perfect flop for king, queen, but I stuck with the plan, give it a check. He fires out, half pot size bet, you know. And I just come right over the top.
Oh, and Dutch Boyd's gonna move all in.
But I'm pretty sure he's gonna fold. And he doesn't.
A call.
Call. Turns over a pair of 3s. Hell of a call there, Moneymaker. Here's Chris Moneymaker, all in. I think that was the only time in that whole tournament where his whole tournament life is on the line. The turn comes a king or a queen, and whew. And he goes back home, 14th, but that didn't happen.
And a 4 comes out on the turn, which actually gives Moneymaker now a straight draw.
And the last card, an ace of diamonds, and it gives Moneymaker a straight and a victory. A huge win over Dutch Boyd.
Could be making some desperation calls here.
And the rest is history. Dutch Boyd still alive in the 2013 main event, but he's all in with ace-king against the king-jack of Jake Cody. Neither one flush with chips.
Boyd with bracelets in 2006 and 2010.
You guys ever been able to film someone just throw up all over the table? Has that ever happened in the World Series of Poker history? We're gonna hope they don't happen. I might edit that out.
Here's the flop. Boyd at risk, and there's a jack. Jake Cody takes the lead, pairing his jack. Jake has over 40% of his chips in the middle. Turn card is a queen. Dutch Boyd gets some more outs.
So Boyd now looking for an ace or a 10.
River card is a 10, and Dutch Boyd goes runner, runner, Broadway for the small double up.
Get ready for it. It's coming.
No, better to double up than to throw up.
A big hit to the already small chip stack for Cody.
Yeah, Cody short stacked. Boyd not in that much better shape, even with that double up.
You're right, Norman. Dutch Boyd up to just 114,000. The road ahead will still be very treacherous. All right, let's catch up with last year's 9th place finisher, Steve G. His pair of 7s with an ace is just 11% to beat the kings up of Aaron Overton after the turn of a paired board.
Overton, 31-year-old Philadelphia pro.
Steve G putting chips together. 33,000 after Overton checked.
Do we ever see G bet with the best hand?
That's true.
To his credit, he walks between the raindrops quite nicely.
And that's a call from Overton. Overton with the kings up, way ahead. River card. 6 of hearts. Overton, first to act. Checks again.
What would Joe Navarro say about G wearing the hoodie and putting his hand on his head? He's beat, but he's going to offer at it.
More than that, he puts Overton all in.
Pocket kings.
Yeah, G bets enough to put Overton at risk. It's tough to call all in unless you're absolutely sure. And Steve G showing no fear in bluffing, despite the way he went out at last year's final table.
This would be for all of Overton's stack, and he gives up his kings up.
Nice play by Steve G.
Overton folds the best hand after G exerts ultimate pressure, pulling that pot out of oblivion. G pumping up his stack here on day 4 as he looks for back-to-back main event final tables. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. The winner of the $3,000 no-limit hold'em mixed max event was not a max, as Maxx Steinberg finished second to Isaac Hagerling, who celebrated his 26th birthday by winning his first World Series bracelet.
I'm relieved to have finished all my matches and get out of the Rio with the money.
The victor of the $1,500 no-limit hold'em shootout event was Bulgarian Simeon Naidanov.
I feel just great. I don't know. I can't explain the feeling. It's like just the biggest achievement in my career.
And Ben Volpe took home over $200,000 for capturing the bracelet in the $1,500 ante-only no-limit hold'em tournament. Just one bracelet left to be won this year in Las Vegas. Maxx Steinberg, who you saw finish second at an earlier event this year, he's the current chip leader with $1.7 million. Merson, Brunson, and Obrestad still in contention.
And you see among the notables eliminated, Phil Ivey, who is dead to me.
DJ Agarwal, who knocked out Mark Kroon, is being tested by Eddie Blumenthal, who raised all in with top pair and an open-ender after a 7-4-5 flop. Agarwal sits with just ace-king, but $240,000 already invested.
Less than 200, right?
Agarwal makes the call, seduced by ace-king.
Agarwal knocked out Mark Kroon, who's from Wisconsin. Blumenthal, also from Wisconsin. He seems to be targeting Wisconsin residents. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Blumenthal at risk, trying to hang on. And there's an ace for Agarwal. Blumenthal up against the wall.
Ace-king gets there. Blumenthal still with 13 outs to get it back and stick around.
The river card is a Trey Blumenthal. Rivers a straight for the double up.
Ronnie, what are you doing to me?
Blumenthal just won an 863,000 chip pot. But in terms of stress, Agarwal just took 863 minutes off the back end of his life.
Agarwal loses almost 40% of his chips.
This is Blumenthal's second straight main event cash.
Well, and as he catches his breath and stacks his newly won chips, let's get back to the secondary table where two strong pros have not been shy about crossing paths. Yevgeny Timoshenko just flopped top 2 pair in the small blind. Annette Obrestad in the big blind is open-ended. She's waiting on Timoshenko to act.
Timoshenko too serious today. Smile. Smell the roses or the Rio.
24,000.
As you mentioned, these two battling all day. Pros usually like to stay away from each other, but at this stage of the main event, sometimes you have no choice.
Annette with the draw. But putting together some raising chips, showing strength. The raise to 69,000.
If I'm Timoshenko, I'm asking, what can she be raising with? He's got top 2. A set for her would be unlikely. There's no flush draw out there.
The curious Ukrainian-born Timoshenko calls for 45,000 more. Turn card. Another 7 gives Timoshenko an unbeatable full house.
Now see, I would have smiled when I hit that full house. I know it's a tell, but it tells me I'm happy.
Now, can he induce a bet from Annette? Nope. River card. Queen of diamonds. Luckily for Annette, she missed her draw.
You got that right. And whatever he bets right now, she can't call.
Timoshenko will do his own bidding here on the river. 97,000 and a snap fold from Obrestad. Timoshenko will take that one in a battle of two strong pros. Well, it's not a bad strategy to avoid the strongest player at your table, but when there are so many of them in a confined area, fireworks will fly. For poker players, the summer, though, means the World Series of Poker. Blinds at 4 and 8,000.
Man, not gonna say.
Folds over to Sarah Herzali, King 9 of Hearts. Sarah opens the pot for 17,000. Sergei Stashkov from St. Petersburg, Russia, folds. Johnson folds. Doyle Brunson in the small blind. Queen 10 of clubs makes the call. Rob folds, heads up.
This is a grueling event, and Doyle will tell you, he just gets worn down physically by this point.
All right, here's the flop. Trey, 5, queen, all diamonds. Pair of queens for Doyle. He checks to the razor. Herzali missed that flop.
She first started playing poker encouraged by her boyfriend, poker pro Jeremy Palvini.
Still counting.
Herzali missed the flop, but bets 19,000.
She doesn't have a diamond in her hand, but she lets it fly. Doyle with top pair.
Can't love the diamonds, but he'll come along one more street at least.
Well, I think he started to run some numbers in his head, then he remembered he just plays by the seat of his pants and called.
That's right. Turn card. Ace of diamonds puts 4 diamonds on the board. Doyle, no diamond. Sarah, no diamond. Doyle checks again.
Herzali still with nothing, no diamond, no ace. I like this play because it smelled like she bet a diamond draw on the flop.
No diamond, but she has position. Puffs up and bets 27,000, and Doyle releases.
Boy, that should be her demo video for a training site, outplaying Texas Dolly in the main event.
Some moxie and position, and a fortunate turn of cards. Sarah Herzali will take that pot up to 354,000.
It seems likely that 40 years ago, Doyle couldn't have imagined a scenario in which he'd get bluffed by a woman on national TV. It's okay, Doyle. We still love you.
We heard Doyle earlier bemoaning the lack of pots he's been able to drag here on day 4. He began the day with 626,000, now sits with just 205. We'll keep it here at the featured table, and Doyle Brunson and company. Bob Bright under the gun folds. Nadal gives it up to Tim Ulrich. The most chips at this featured table with King 10.
I'm thinking Eli Manning,
Yeah.
at least a cousin.
You're right, yeah, raised to 16,000. Herzali with Queen 9. We'll sit this one out. Sergei Stashkov with pocket 10s for the 24-year-old.
Stashkov started playing poker after fellow Russian Ivan Demidov made the main event final table in 2008.
He's doubled his stack on day 4 so far. Doyle Brunson now on the button, King 10 off.
And he looks like he might be in a larcenous mood, thinking squeeze play.
Doyle looks like he wants to teach these 20-somethings a thing or two. That is a re-raise to 86,000. Ulrich now, also with King 10. He folds to Stashkov. How involved does Stashkov want to get with the great Doyle Brunson?
I'm all in.
All in.
And he puts Doyle all in.
All right, that's good.
And Doyle says, okay. Doyle Brunson's going to need some help to stick around.
The same hand.
That's bad news.
So no more 10s in there. That's easy.
Doyle put himself in a tough spot. He started the hand with 25 big blinds, and then after his big re-raise, he would have been left with 15 big blinds if he folded there.
2 of them left.
Doyle Brunson at risk in the 2013 main event. Here's the flop. 3 blanks for Doyle.
Doyle Brunson in dire straits here.
Sergei Stashkov in line for a red letter knockout. Turn card. 9 of hearts brings no salvation to the 2-time champ.
Texas Dolly down to a 2-outer. He's got to have a king or his main event is over.
The river card, the ace of clubs. Stashkov wins, eliminates Doyle Brunson from this main event. Doyle Brunson receiving a well-deserved round of applause from the entire room.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doyle's elimination leaves 408 players and a familiar name and face still on top. Max Steinberg, Nick Schwarman, who lost to bottom pair to Greg Merson in ninth. Kara Scott right now is with the poker legend.
Doyle Brunson is one of the most famous faces in this game. You nearly didn't play the main event and had to be kind of enticed in. What was the experience like for you?
Well, it was fun. You know, it's always fun, especially, you know, right now starting on. But, you know, I tried. That's all I can do.
Can you talk a little bit about the reception that you've received from the community? You've had a bronze bust made in your likeness as well. Everyone claps when you go out, and everyone always loves to see you at these events.
Well, it's flattering, and, you know, I appreciate it that people, you know, they remember the old days when it was a little bit tougher.
The old days, I'm not so sure they were that long ago.
Yeah, they were long ago.
Still crushing the games, though, and it's always good to see you at these events. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Doyle Brunson's deep day 4 run captivated the poker world.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Making the final table of the World Series of Poker main event is a long shot. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. With 388 players left, 4 have a chance to do it in back-to-back years.
Being deep in the main event, making the final table was an experience of a lifetime. It's hard to describe.
Making the final table just feels incredibly epic. You're just playing pots worth millions of dollars, which poker players don't really get a chance to do very often.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
My life has definitely changed since 2012, and it's calmed down quite a bit until this event.
After last year, the experience kind of taught me that, you know what, in spite of all the, you know, the massive field of great players, it's doable.
Back-to-back has not been done since 2004. Why not in 2013?
Texas Doyle Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event day 4.
Welcome back to the Rio for day 4 of the World Series of Poker main event. We're halfway to the November 9. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. And the biggest story right now is the man on the left, defending champ Greg Merson.
He's got just below an average stack, but as we know, he doesn't have a just below average game.
Another former champ has chips, Spain's Carlos Mortensen.
He was almost knocked out here earlier on day 4. You don't want to give this guy a second life.
Melanie Weisner showed she has skills now. She needs to get more chips.
She outlasted her boyfriend Rupert Elder, so dinner's on her.
One player who no longer has chips, Dutch Boyd, gone in 395th place.
His second main event cash since he dueled with Chris Moneymaker in 03 and finished in 12th.
Rob Salaburo, part of the 2012 Octo 9, hoping to get back to the final table.
Still trying to bring the Texas No Limit Hold'em world title back to Texas.
Rob far from the top 10. It's 24-year-old Maxx Steinberg who leads the way. He's the one who knocked out Phil Ivey. 388 players remaining. On the notables list, farmer Phil Mater, slightly above average.
Brett Ritchie is a great rapper and check raiser. Norwegian pro Annette Obrestad and Australian pro Jackie Glazier among the women trying to make a November 9 date.
Just kidding, buddy. Just kidding. Sneaking 100,000 in my tech account by one.
There's cameras going, you know.
You would think I would actually do that? No.
You don't have that move in you?
No, dude. I want to beat you. I don't want to cheat you.
Salaburu making quick friends with the big stack at the feature table, Matthew Huey.
I don't know if Huey's sarcasm meter is out of batteries, but it'll be a long day for him if he takes Salaburu too seriously.
Salaburu right now with fewer than 35 big blinds, but not in desperation mode yet.
Good spot at the table for Rob with the big stack to his right, but he'll need a double up and some huevos rancheros ASAP.
3 chips in play, the yellow 1K up to the 25K green chip. The blinds at 4 and 8,000, 1,000 chip ante. Under the gun +1, a German student from Kiel, Germany, Tim Ulrich with pocket jacks.
Eli Manning with pocket jacks.
A raise to 16,000 with pocket fours. Sarah Herzali, the mysterious French player from Marseille.
The Bond girl is back.
Numerous small cashes to her resume, and she's going to come along. From St. Petersburg, Russia, Sergei Stashkov, Queen 10 suited. And he comes along. The big stack with almost 1.4 million. Huey gets rid of his hand. Salaburu with a quick call, 9-8 of spades. In the small blind, Alexander Rumiliotis folds a small suited ace to Bob Bright in the big. 6-deuce.
What?
And he gets rid of it.
Bob, you need to call with a Walmart receipt in that hand.
I'm from my old school.
4 players to this flop. 4-7 tray. Herzali flops a set of 4s. The pocket jack's way behind for Urish.
Urish has no idea that the woman to his left is about to reduce him to a heaving pile of rubble.
He bets 37,000.
Poor kid.
Herzali now with the hammer. Herzali just calls. Stashkov folds.
37,000.
How much do you have behind there? 1. Okay, thank you. That's fine.
And what are your cards, Rob?
Can I get a count?
That's the longest decision Salaburu has ever made, and we were witnesses.
All right, heads up to the turn. Herzali with a set against the pocket jacks. 5 of diamonds puts a straight draw on the board, but Urish still way behind with the jacks.
Urish has no immediate family here. He'll have to depend on the kindness of strangers to help him back onto his feet after this hand.
That's 56,000. Herzali. Whoa, does not say all in. She wants to show the force of all the chips going in.
Slow play, then spring the trap. Just like in the movies, this Bond girl is tough. And Eli Manning has been sacked in the pocket with jacks.
Ulrich trying to figure out what she has. And he lays it down. Herzali will take it.
6s? Not even 6s make sense. There's no hand that makes sense. Seriously, none.
Really? Not pocket 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, or 7s?
A6 of clubs?
About 2 6s.
Yeah, that would be him.
Or me?
Oh, you had A6 like that.
Set of 7.
She doesn't play many hands, but when she does, like Hall & Oates used to say, she's a man-eater.
With relatively inexperienced players like Sarah Herzali near the average and in contention, it's a reminder that even as we reach the latter stages of this event, anyone can win. It's why we love the main event and why so many people keep coming back.
The midway point is always a good time to reflect, though the midway point of my first 2 marriages came too quickly for any reflection. Now, halfway through here, players will tell you that they're not thinking about the final table. They're lying and they're fibbing. They're not thinking about the final table? That's a tall tale taradiddle. What else would they be thinking about? Pork belly futures? These people. Let's play poker.
To the outer tables, we pick up with 25-year-old Blake Yu once again. He's a former junior golf standout. Right now he's got ace-king, and he called the shove from British amateur Neil Walker.
Walker, 35-year-old insurance broker.
Pocket queens ahead right now, but they're racing, and there's a queen in the window, a set for Walker. Disaster for Blake with top pair.
Yeah, something like that.
Turn card is a jack. Broadway draw now for you.
You could now knock Walker out with a river 10.
And the river card is a 10! You hits Broadway to score the elimination of Walker.
This game is so cruel. If I played poker for a living, Lon, I would be on the therapist's couch twice as often as I already am.
Oh, boy. Over $28,000 for Walker, but that one will leave a mark.
And to use a golf analogy here, that's like hitting a bad approach that hits a tree, bounces onto the green, and then a small animal grabs the ball and drops it in the hole. Nice turn in river, Blake Yu.
Yeah, pretty standard action pre-flop, but anything but afterward. Blake Yu will take the chips. Walker will take his lumps. All right, over to the secondary table. Bracelet winner Annette Obrestad, a big factor there with nearly 900,000 chips. Amateur Jean-Yves Malherbe with the most chips at this table, just over 1 million.
You may recall Greg Merson torturing Malherbe last year in the late stages of the main event.
The action right now on another amateur, the man in the middle in the yellow shirt, Jack Yanda with pocket kings and a raise to $23,000.
He owns a small finance company in Wisconsin.
Obrestad folds over to Jared Wooden. Pocket sevens, highly educated poker pro from Walnut Creek, California.
He chews slow and he plays slow.
The MBA with a call, $23,000. Now to Vimy Ha, the Brooklyn software consultant on the button. Looks down at 9-8.
He was 527th at the 08 main event. 9-8 off on the button. I say why, Ha says why not.
Indeed. And there is a call. He is a stubborn man. So the blinds fold, and so we have three-way action right now. Yanda, the big hand with the pocket kings. Here is the flop. 8 tray queen, all hearts. Yanda still best with the kings. Wooden with a flush draw.
No, you don't have a heart, sir, but kings are good.
And it looks like he will bet the kings that are good. That is $53,000. Wooden with 4 hearts to a flush. Only had 20 big blinds to start. No chasing allowed. He folds. Now, Vimy Ha with middle pair.
Ha born in Muleshoe, Texas. I can't even find that on a map.
It's a big state.
No, Ha's got no heart in his hand, but he's got plenty of heart, Lon.
Yeah, and I think Yanda might have preferred to end the hand right there. Turn card is the 9 of diamonds, and Vimy Ha turns 2 pair. Well, Yanda has to still love his kings here.
Yeah, I'd bet 2 if I were him. I might bet a little faster. Constructing a bet.
That is $85,000 now to Ha, who just turned 2 pair. Wow, and you thought he should not have been in the hand even.
Of course not.
220.
Ha raises.
220,000.
Good call.
And a snap call from Yanda with the kings.
It's definitely a snap call when your chips get into the pot before the razors do.
River, 7 of diamonds. Yanda better be careful. He does check.
I'm all in.
I'll call.
And Yanda calls all in, and that will be the end of his main event.
Boy, another insta call and insta gone.
Boy, Jack Yanda just could not find it in himself to fold the pocket kings, and Vimy Ha is the beneficiary.
Yeah, he wins. It's okay, he wins.
Well, the amateur overvalued his overpair. Yanda started the hand with 60 big blinds. He still had 25 blinds left when he called all in.
Good game.
Good game. Good game,
And
sir.
Yanda's slow to get up from his seat, as you can understand, but does make his exit.
Sad Yanda.
Wow.
Did you think you were good when he called that fast?
I wasn't sure if he
scared.
spiked a set of queens. That's the only thing I was worried about.
He just snapped it so
I know.
fast. I'm like, oh.
Snapped the turn, too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lot more worried about him snapping the river than the turn.
Kings cracked, and Vimy Ha is the new big stack at this table. Chips are the tool of this game. Arrange them however you like. The key is to keep accumulating. Carter Gill moved all in with top 2 pair, waiting for David Paredes to decide what to do with just top pair.
You don't bluff, right? I haven't yet. I see bet bluff sometimes, but and after that, I just check it down the rest of the way. I called him on river with deuces.
2 poker pros here. Gill dropped out of Cal State Chico. Paredes graduated from Harvard. Gill born in Madras, Oregon. I can't even find that on a map.
My days are all you need is queen. You call you need a queen. What are you saying? I don't know. Just say we call you need a queen, right?
Paredes calls. Gill's got the best of it.
Oh, if you call you need a queen, put the 5 of clubs out there. 5 of clubs. I was right. It's like call you need a queen. Oh my God. He hits it.
And you felt good about it.
So you want to play poker for a living, huh?
Wow.
It was your talking that did it, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You did a good job. You did a good job, man. You did a really valiant effort, man.
Carter Gill stunningly knocked out by David Paredes.
I'm surprised he did not slump over in his chair into a state of unconsciousness until 2017.
All you want to do in this poker life is flop top 2, get your chips in good. The rest is just out of your control. We check back in with Vimy Ha, well over 1 million chips now. Vimy is a software and IT consultant who used to play college soccer. This is his 5th main event and 2nd main event cash.
Credits his recent poker success to reading The Mental Game of Poker by Jared Tendler. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. No surprise there. He plays poker like this is Game of Thrones.
All right, we'll keep it here at the secondary table. Vimy right now sitting in the big blind. Yevgeny Timoshenko has raised to 17,000 with Queen 10. Vimy with King Jack.
If he's not defending his big blind with King Jack here, I'll move to Muleshoe.
He has been the defender. He calls for 9,000 more. Heads up against the Ukrainian-born poker pro. 10-5 tray. Vimy Ha misses. Top pair for Yevgeny.
Well, Ha got no piece of that flop, and he's going to lead out into the pre-flop raiser.
13,000.
I remember when Yevgeny wore a charcoal pinstripe suit at the 09 WPT Championship final table. Boy, he looked sharp.
You miss those days, huh? He calls. Turn card 8 of clubs. A 3rd club on the board gives Ha a flush draw.
Ha says pressure, pressure, pressure.
He's going to bet, but the water pressure is pretty weak. 23,000.
Timoshenko was a play chip shark as a teenager, then transitioned to real chips, and it turned out he was real good.
He made a lot of money online and on the felt. Yevgeny deliberately putting together raising chips to 65,000.
I like that raise from Timoshenko. It's a tester raise and often might end the hand right here.
We're going to learn something about Vimy Ha here, I guess. Well, do you want to stick around? Wow, look at that, a re-raise to 130.
I no longer like that raise from Timoshenko. Ha's got a lot of game, maybe too much game.
Feeling bulletproof with those newly won chips. And now Timoshenko with the best hand. Well, he's not convinced by Ha's actions. There's the call. Uh-oh. River card now. Another 5, more importantly, a red 5. So Timoshenko's hand is best.
Ha never paired up and missed his flush. I don't know if that's going to be an impediment to his aggression.
No impediments for Vimy Ha, 200,000.
Ha bet out on the flop. He 3-bet you on the turn. He bets big again on the river. What do you do here if you're Yevgeny Timoshenko? Timoshenko very methodical.
And the pump fake.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. He tried to get a read off of Ha, pretending he was going to call. I never liked that at all.
I call.
Yevgeny does call.
King high. Huh? King high.
Yep, king high. Yevgeny saw through the sham and will take it down.
Terrific call by Timoshenko. And wonderfully played by Ha, but I don't know if I want him consulting on my software.
Over 900,000 now for Timoshenko, his high point for the main event. Vimy Ha gives up a good-sized chunk on that failed bluff. And Yevgeny Timoshenko, who won the 2009 WPT Championship, has his sights set firmly on making the final table of the World Series of Poker main event. Let's get back over to the featured table now.
I want to know where Matthew's from. Yeah.
I live here in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
But I'm originally from Michigan.
Oh, okay. How do you feel being the second oldest here on the table?
I get more used to it all the time.
Yeah.
You know. Hey, it's better than being the oldest.
That's right. Well, I don't know about that.
Wow.
I wasn't the oldest till Doyle got knocked out.
Yeah, so you know where I'm at.
Getting a little testy out there at the featured table.
The youngest are smart, but a little bit too aggressive.
I guess I'd rather be the youngest. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm going to go back to being 22 someday myself.
Salaburu raised with pocket 10s, Roumeliotis with pocket 7s.
What? That doesn't make any sense, Sergey.
By the way, Doyle Brunson knocked out earlier on day 4 with his 8th main event cash. That's tied for 3rd all-time with Bobby Baldwin behind Barry Johnston's 10 and Humberto Brenes with his 9th cash this year.
Everyone else folded, so the 10s against the 7s. Heads up. And there is a 7 in the flop. Roumeliotis with a set to flip the tables on Rob Salaburu. He checks.
Before last year's October 9, Salaburu watched the last 10 main event final tables to get a feel for the stage.
Roumeliotis, 22,000.
All in.
All in from Salaburu. Oops, and suddenly he's in trouble.
Rob's plan there was to check raise all in, and now he's in big trouble for his main event.
Nice him.
It was
Alexander
a good flop for me.
I
guess.
Salaburu looking for some salvation. The jack on the turn doesn't bring it to him.
I don't think I cover you.
I think you do.
Facing perhaps his last river card of this World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
It's the 4 of spades. Salaburu comes up empty, knocked out by Alexander Roumeliotis.
Sad to say, you lost, bro.
Good luck, bro. Good playing with you.
Quick elimination follows that quick decision to shove, and Rob Salaburu will not be back at the main event final table this year. $634,000 for Roumeliotis after the knockout. Right now, Kara Scott is with Rob.
We've lost Robert Salaburu from the main event, and after making the final table last year, you have a really good perspective on what it takes to go deep in this 2 times in a row. Tell us about that.
Just got to get hands to hold and win your flips, I guess. I mean, honestly, you got to run pretty good late, but it's a great tournament. It's good structure, so you can pick your spots wisely.
What odds would you give one of last year's October 9 for actually making the final table again this year?
Man, I don't know. It's a tough number to put out there, but I really hope. I wish everybody that's left in there the best.
Great, thank you so much.
Awesome, appreciate it. All in. Good luck, bud. Good playing with you. Good playing with you.
An impressive return performance at the main event for Rob Salaburu. Back to Las Vegas, and we've got a brand new featured table. Roland Israelishvili, who finished 25th at last year's main event in Seed 5 and looking to run deep again. The blinds are up to 5 and 10,000 with a 1,000 chip ante still.
I came down here by myself. My wife bought me the ticket for my birthday.
Wow.
No.
Hell of a present.
40th birthday present.
It's a great present, man. Right now, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
My wife is the coolest chick on the planet. She bought me a ticket, airfare, hotel.
Wow. And she didn't want to come along with?
No, she asked me. I said, no, you stay.
Oh, okay.
When I make the final table, we're close to it. I think she's going to come down later in the weekend if I'm still here.
Oh, cool.
That's Long Island's Jason Cohen, whose wife gave him the gift of main event life.
I've always dreamed of playing in the main event, and my wife decided to take it upon herself to make my dream come true. We got a large group of my family together for my 40th birthday, which was in January, and she handed me a box, and inside the box was a picture of Doyle Brunson, and at the bottom it says, "A chip in a chair, baby. You're going to the World Series."
What?
Holy crap, but really? When I opened up the box and I read through what she had actually done for me, it brought a tear to my eye, and it made me love her even more than I already did, because I really wanted to be here, and she made it happen.
For my 40th birthday, whoever I was married to at the time also gave me a ticket, airfare, and hotel, but it was a whole different set of circumstances.
Cohen with the most chips at this table and one of the big stacks in the room with nearly 1.9 million and a raise to 33,000.
Cohen is the chief technology officer at a New Jersey-based mortgage bank.
Married, as you heard, with 2 kids. Israelishvili with pocket 6s, 55-year-old born in the Georgia Republic.
He once owned a jewelry business, transitioned into poker, and he's quite good. 32 World Series cashes.
Roland makes the call to Sean Quint, New Hampshire-born poker pro with pocket 5s. A couple of players already in, and he'll fold the 5s.
Well, not in the mood to dance with the 5s. Quint sitting on 30 big blinds at the moment.
Button folds. Small blind out of the way. Justin Truesdale in the big blind folds as well. So we got Ace-king versus the sixes, the two big stacks at this table.
Two New Yorkers. And by the way, I'll forgive Jason Cohen being a Yankee fan. He's geographically predisposed.
Here is the flop. 4 deuce 9, no ace, no king. The pocket sixes stand up so far for Roland. Cohen first to act here with the ace-king.
Here comes the continuation bet.
45,000.
It should tell you something that no healthcare provider will insure the continuation bet.
Just too much risk. And there's a call from Israelashvili. Turn card now. Tray of hearts brings straight draws to both, but Cohen's is useless.
Cohen might want to slow down if he wants to see his 41st birthday.
45,000 again.
He will rue the day he made that bet, Lon. Rue it.
And Roland throws in a casual call. River card now. Israelashvili ahead. 10 of spades. The pocket sixes. Good the whole way for Roland. Cohen checks. They both check.
And ace.
A river bet might have worked there. Who knows?
Yeah, I was hoping for a 5 on the river, so that's the only money card.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Two friendly New Yorkers. What are the chances?
So Israelashvili, known as Speedy in some circles for his love of auto racing, takes that pot, gets a little stronger. To the secondary table now. Action on Yevgeny Timoshenko under the gun +1 with Jack-10 offsuit. Came to poker as part of the moneymaker wave with a raise to 22,000.
Timoshenko's 17 World Series cashes, but no bracelet yet.
He dropped out of college, but encourages others not to follow his lead. Vimiha in the cutoff, folds. Round to the big blind, Adam Friedman.
12 World Series cashes and a bracelet.
Adam finally looks down at pocket queens. Columbus, Ohio poker pro. You don't hear that often. And he makes the call.
Just calls and disguises the strength of his hand like a mailroom clerk who hides the biggest UPS parcel in his back pocket.
The flop 10-9 jack. Friedman has the overpair and he's open-ended, but trailing the 2 pair of Yevgeny Timoshenko now. Yevgeny bets 30,000 with the best hand. And a quick call from Adam.
This hand reminds me of the old Bud Light and Miller Lite beer wars. Two popular products, but at the end of the day, somebody's only drinking one of them.
Another jack. Full house now for Timoshenko. Friedman's gonna need a bigger boat.
That's a monster, Lon. Jack's full. He's sitting on a monster. How has his body not been ejected from his chair?
Friedman checks. Timoshenko reaching. 54,000.
Adam could still make a straight, which would be no good. And of course, he still could make a bigger full house.
Annette Obrestad conferring with her boyfriend, poker pro Daniel Di Pasquale. Friedman.
Maybe the next hand will only take 5 minutes.
Check calls. Timoshenko has Adam Friedman right where he wants him. River card brings a 4th spade. The jacks full for Timoshenko are best. A check from Adam.
It's ridiculous.
Annette complaining about the pace of play at her table.
Yeah, but I can't, because when I'm about to, like, he'll act.
Well, you can hear in the background Annette's boyfriend suggesting that she call a clock.
You know, if Timoshenko were a major league pitcher, baseball games would take 11 hours. I guess Timoshenko could be facing a straight flush, or he could be thinking about his timeshare in Laughlin. What's taking so long here?
Annette returns to the table. Timoshenko definitely knows it's his turn to act. We'll go to break and come back, hopefully, for a decision. Welcome back. Yevgeny Timoshenko with jacks full, trying to decide how much to bet against Adam Friedman's queens up. He's been silent for quite some time now, Timoshenko.
The NBA went to a shot clock in 1954. We're overdue for one in poker.
Can I get a clock?
Annette Obrestad does call the clock.
Clock has been called.
Yevgeny now has 1 minute to take action.
Your hand will be dead. You will be given a 10-second
And he's already
count.
reaching for chips. With jacks full, Timoshenko bets 90,000.
This is unnecessary.
It took him about 2 minutes to make that decision. Adam Friedman's got a tougher decision, but I think he'll be quicker.
I want to play this hand, or it'll be nice.
Adam's not going to need a clock. He needs another queen.
Maybe Yevgeny was hoping someone would call the clock to make it look like his action was forced. Adam does make the call.
And our national nightmare is over.
Jacks full will take it.
That was very cool, Annette.
I'm sorry.
I don't think I took too long.
You always take an absurd amount of time. I mean, no offense, but we'd like to see more hands. At least I do.
I'm fine with taking 45 minutes a hand. I'll just sit here and go up tiers.
I know you are.
Wow, I am the worst.
Adam beating himself
I think it's
up.
different.
It took a while considering you were just faced with a check. Yeah. If you're faced with like a bet,
it's different. It's check to you on the river.
It's a long time to decide how much to value at the miss.
Bottom line, Yevgeny is stacking chips. A couple of eliminations to report. 5-time bracelet winner Alan Cunningham is out.
I guarantee you he wasn't outplayed. 1,000 people got lucky on him.
Matt Marafiotti is done.
I had fun, yeah. I ran sixes into aces with 6 big blinds. I can't get away from that. Board ran out pretty good. If he had ace-king, I would have doubled, but I always look at things in hindsight in weird ways.
154th last year, 329th this year. Let's check in with Kara Scott.
As we get down closer to 300 players, we've lost some notable faces from the outer tables. Poker pro and one of the few women in the field, Lauren Kling, was eliminated when she ran tens into kings with a shortish stack. British pro Jake Cody, who completed poker's Triple Crown in 2011 when he won the 25K heads-up bracelet, was eliminated by Vladimir Geshkenbein. Vladimir is now among the chip leaders. And Matt Affleck, who had back-to-back deep runs in the main event in 2009 and 2010, lost a flip that sent him to the rail.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
That is Josh Prager with ace-queen, hoping to punish Italian pro Riccardo Lacanelli for moving all in with pocket jacks. Lacanelli on the left.
Lacanelli from Crema, Italy. I can't even find that on a map.
Turn card now. Is an 8. Lacanelli open-ended, taking the queen from Prager.
Yeah, only an ace now knocks out Lacanelli.
Lacanelli's rail, very active, very excited. The river card is a queen.
iPhones are great for recording big moments, but his rail can't even give him a high five because they're filming it. Something isn't right.
The double up worth $388,000 for Lacanelli.
It's great to see the excitement. It's a charged atmosphere here as we get deeper and deeper.
Ricardo's rail getting a little rambunctious, but it was a big win. 321 remain. Back to the featured table. Jason Cohen still enjoying his birthday gift. Cheng Lu open raise to 22,000 with ace-10 suited. Cohen now with the pocket jacks. The New York amateur putting chips together, and there's a re-raise to 45,000.
Cohen likes his job. It says if he wins the main event, he'll buy a house in the suburbs, one in the mountains, one in the islands, and just take it easy. What would you do if you won the main event, Lon?
What would I do with the money? Well, a chunk of charity, of course, and then I'd buy out your contract so you can enjoy a nice retirement.
Good for you.
I'm all in.
Cheng Lu now. He says all in.
Can I get a count?
Lou pushed with 27 big blinds left. He cashed in a World Series event last year.
279.
This would be for almost 20% of Cohen's stack.
I call.
Cohen makes the call with his jacks. And Cheng Lu at risk and behind.
More than $500,000 in the middle, and Cohen a 2-to-1 favorite to beef up his big stack further.
Indeed, Cohen started this hand with almost $1.6 million. Here's the flop. Queen 8 deuce. Jason is good with that. Nothing there for Lou.
Yeah, Cohen goes from a 2-to-1 favorite to more than a 4-to-1 fave to bust Lou.
Turn card at 10 pairs Lou, but his job is not done.
A couple of more outs though for him. Lou now needs an ace or a 10 to stick around.
The river card. is an ace.
Yes! Yes!
Cheng Lu will stick around.
That's how you high five.
Yeah.
Sick.
The jacks go down to the aces up.
279, did you say?
Cohen did everything right, but sometimes that's not enough.
This guy's been as tight as can be. Now he's just jamming his 10, no big deal.
Cheng Lu now with 582,000. He was one card from the exit, but the river had some other ideas.
Sick.
Jason Cohen's chip stack taking big hits here at the featured table. The World Series of Poker Main Event Day 4 continues. Let's go to an outer table now to check in on last year's fourth place finisher Russell Thomas, who flopped middle set on a board with 2 hearts against top pair, top kicker for Ashley Mason. Mason then went runner, runner, diamond flush. Thomas acting here, 175,000.
Can't blame him. Besides back-to-back main event cashes here, Thomas also final tabled the main event at World Series Asia Pacific after he made the October 9.
Action now to Mason. And Mason raises all in for 468,000 total.
Mason with the stone cold nuts and puts Russell Thomas in a tizzy. Thomas with a set of 7s, hard to get away from it. If he ends up calling this, he'll be left with only 15 big blinds.
Russell Thomas squirming in his seat. And he lays down a big hand, and Mason will take it.
Boy, great, great fold from Russell Thomas.
Russell Thomas shaking his head, but he just made one of the best folds of the tournament, Norman. And he does guarantee himself some chips to work with. The payout right now, a little more than $32,000. Let's go meet up once again with Nick Schwarman, a Florida poker pro with pocket deuces. He called a re-raise by New York pro Grayson Ramage with ace-queen.
Yes, he did. Ramage 35th in the 09 main event. Shared a house here in Las Vegas last summer with Greg Merson.
Ramage takes the lead, pairing his queen. Schwarman left with his lowliest pair.
Yeah, deuces look so lonely after most flops.
Schwarman had checked dark.
Ramage, a Bucknell grad. This is his 17th World Series cash.
He bets 39,000 with top pair, top kicker.
Last time we saw Schwarman, he was trying to bluff Greg Merson.
He learned that's not a winning formula. Schwarman with a check raise here to 87,000.
I like a guy who has a plan. See, he didn't have to hit a set to raise the flop. Unfortunately, his plan is facing top pair, top kicker.
Ramage makes the call.
Schwarman looks like he's getting Mirandized.
Turn card. Another queen makes Ramage stronger.
No, usually I'd really like this line of attack, but in this spot, it's like putting your head in a vice.
128,000 from Schwarman.
You know, but it might have worked if Ramage had flopped a middle pair or had like pocket 9s or 10s.
Ramage not going anywhere with trips. That's just a call.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
10 of spades puts a third spade on board.
All in.
Wow. That is one stubborn, unrelenting pair of deuces. And now Grayson Ramage with a decision for the rest of his chips. And it's not an easy call if you're sitting there with trip queens.
I call.
A call. Schwarman shows his deuces. Ramage says thank you a million times over Nick.
Nice call. As we say sometimes in poker, the operation was successful, but the patient died. Nick Schwarman just bluffed off 80% of his stack.
Nick Schwarman left with just 23 big blinds after a bluff gone bad. And despite that very impressive fold earlier that we saw, Russell Thomas now gone from the main event in 306th place. Very impressive run coming on the heels of final tables last year here and at World Series APAC in April. Pro Melanie Weisner no longer a part of this main event. A nice run, gone in 301st place.
Her 17th World Series cash.
There's Dick Van Lyke on the right with king 6 off pre-flop, just 4-bet by Jason Mann, a Canadian attorney holding pocket aces.
Van Lyke, a freewheeling investor. You said he's facing a 4-bet here with king 6 off and thinking about it.
Both players with more than 1 million chips. Main event chip leader Maxx Steinberg at this table as well. Van Lyke makes the call. Here's the flop. 6, 4, 9. Ace is still good for Mann. Van Lyke picks up middle pair.
Mann's wife, Janet, also a lawyer. I've never been in favor of attorneys who cohabitate.
They also play poker together with her parents. A bet of $185,000 from Mann.
Really great.
Van Lyke says all in.
Really? Van Lyke flops middle pair and pushes with 90 big blinds left.
And now the attorney will try to noodle this one out.
719 more? Yes, sir.
There's the call.
Oh, sure. But we have seen some, how shall I say, suspect plays here on day 4. You know, when your chips are gone, they don't give you any more. Van Lyke at risk, and Mann a huge favorite to take down a huge pot.
Van Lyke's favorite player, Marcel Lusk, cheering him on, standing behind Mann.
The winner of this hand will be the chip leader.
Aces up now for Mann. River card 10 of hearts. Mann scores the huge pot and takes out one-time chip leader Dick Van Lyke.
Van Lyke gone in a heartbeat. 1 million chips. Bye-bye.
You said it before, Norman. Lived by the big stack, died by the big stack, and Jason Mann, the amateur, is top dog.
I mean, who hands money to a lawyer? Nice guy, but geez.
A needless risk taken by Van Lyke, and he is knocked out in 300th place. Van Lyke put together a big stack early, but his main event ends right here, right now. Jason Mann over $2 million and cruising. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. Pot Limit Hold'em provided twice the excitement at this year's World Series as 2 events gave 2 men a lot of extra cash. 5-time bracelet winner Alan Cunningham fell short of his 6th when he finished second to Lev Rothman, who took home over $166,000. In the 5K buy-in event, Davide Katai became the first non-North American to win a bracelet this summer, earning nearly a $250,000 payday for the Belgian's first-place finish. Getting back to the featured table, you can take from that fact that there are no guarantees to make the November 9. Action under the gun on Roland Israelishvili with pocket 10s.
He spent a few years racing cars professionally, and as you mentioned earlier, his nickname was Speedy.
Third biggest stack at this table with $821,000 and a raise to $26,000. The amateur Jason Cohen has the biggest stack here with almost $1.3 million. It's folded to Jason with kings. For a little extra insight, let's see what Phil Hellmuth would do in this edition of White Magic.
Jason, kings, nice. Oh man, I love picking up kings. Now, how to play them. I'll smooth call 30 to 40% of the time, hoping that 1, I can trap Roland, the original raiser. 2, I might be able to have one of the small blind or big blind stacks re-raise with or without a hand and trap them for more chips. So the reason you slow play is to win more chips, but it's dangerous. You could end up losing a big pot.
So Cohen with the kings just calls. In the small blind, Jack Amix with queens, just the scenario Phil was talking about.
Amix owns a mortgage company.
He's from Corryton, Tennessee, and he just calls with the queens. In the big blind, Manuel Mutka from Germany with ace deuce of diamonds comes along.
Well, 3 big pairs and the weak ace.
8 deuce 9. Cohen is still best with the kings. Amix with a 9% hand now with the pocket queens. He checks.
All 3 big pairs got to like the look of this flop.
Mutka checks bottom pair. Israelishvili now 3rd best with the 10s, the original raiser.
Here comes Speedy.
62,000.
Cohen got what he wanted. It's like white magic.
Time to reduce the hangers on. Yeah, a raise to 125,000.
Amix might have been thinking about a raise until Cohen did it first.
And now not so sure. The amateur having to face other amateurs and a top pro in Israelishvili, and the queens go into the muck.
Wow, how did he know to do that?
Mutka folds. Israelishvili will call for 63 grand more.
Everyone did the right thing. 10 should have bet, king should have raised, queen should have folded, and I can't blame Speedy for calling a raise there.
Turn card is a queen, and Amex a bit sick to his stomach about now.
Give him his cards back, a one-time promotion.
Roland checks his 10s. Now Cohen with the kings. Some of those green chips worth $25,000 each. It's a total of $211,000.
Well, Speedy has picked up a gut shot along with his pocket 10s.
Ishrelashvili folds the worst hand. Jason Cohen returning to form, and Phil Hellmuth would be proud.
See, white magic works more than you think. I think I'm going to agree with the poker brat most of the time.
Amex sees his would-be chips go right past him. Jason Cohen trying to rebuild his stack to what it once was and beyond, trying to run even deeper so his wife can come from New York to support him on the rail. Until early November, Greg Merson still the reigning champion. Right now he is talking to the Railbirds, still with a good-sized stack, still from Maryland.
And following in the footsteps of Greg Raymer and Joe Hashem, a deep run the year after winning it all.
Ola Ogalola nearing 600,000 chips. He did survive day 3 with a tough starting table, which included Phil Ivey. Back to Carlos Mortensen, a true survivor so far thanks to a kind river card earlier. Carlos behind with a nut flush draw against the set of kings held by Jamie Armstrong, who was at risk. The deuce is no help to Carlos.
Mortensen needs a heart that doesn't pair the board to knock out Armstrong.
The river card. The tray of hearts. Wow. Carlos does it again.
Carlos Mortensen, ladies and gentlemen.
A flush for the former world champ knocks Jamie Armstrong out.
We've seen the Matador get lucky twice on day 4, both in all-in situations.
Hey, man. Good luck.
291st place brings over $32,000 to Armstrong.
If Carlos Mortensen gets chips, everyone else is in trouble.
428.
So as the field shrinks further, I hate to do this, but Jason Mann is, the man to beat right now as we head toward day 4's conclusion. Maxx Steinberg right behind him.
We're under 300 players, a Canadian amateur on top of the heap, 38-year-old Jason Mann. We can't have a lawyer win the main event, can we? Actually, Dan Harrington and Greg Raymer were lawyers. It's okay, I guess.
It's been nearly 13 days.
I take it one day at a time. It's always just a relief to get through day 1. It's so frustrating to get knocked out on day 1 of an event like this.
Nearly 13 playing days since defending champion Greg Merson knew what it felt like to be eliminated from a World Series of Poker main event.
If I make it to the end of today, then I move on to the next day, and then the next day, same thing. As long as you make it till the end of the day, you're still in and have a chance.
I wish you could feel my heart. It's like not even beating.
He is not the favorite to win this year, but has a chance of pulling off the near impossible. Back-to-back titles in the modern era.
I don't really feel any pressure to like make a deep run or anything.
He's outlasted nearly 6,000 players to reach the end of day 4. What's a few hundred more?
Texas Doyle Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Hellmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event day 4.
It takes 7 days to reach the World Series of Poker main event final table, and we're closing in on the end of day 4. Lon McCarron here with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Let's quickly check in on pro Adam Friedman, who ran his king-queen off into the pocket aces of Javier Montano. Adam picked up a straight draw on the turn, but he's at risk.
Nice hand.
No. I'm not going to shake your hand yet. Not quite yet. Not until it's done. Because I've been rivered, yes, I got rivered several times yesterday.
No river drama. Montano's aces hold up, Friedman's gone.
A fabulous World Series for 2012 bracelet winner Adam Friedman in the money at the main event. 2 final tables among his 5 cashes.
And he will take away over $37,000 for his run here in the 2013 main event. 32 tables in action. One of them includes the chip leader, Jason Mann.
Lawyer on the loose, and I think he's double billing this table.
24-year-old Maxx Steinberg still with a big stack, one of 4 players over $2 million.
Sometimes I think Maxx is going to win the whole thing, and sometimes I think Maxx is going to be the next player out.
A new face making waves, poker pro, amateur rapper Brett Ritchie.
Actually, I think he raps better than he plays poker, and he plays poker well.
Jason Cohen still making his wife proud.
Her 40th birthday gift to him was the main event, and he still hasn't blown out all the candles.
Farmer Phil Mader from Nebraska. He survived Phil Ivey. So far, he's survived day 4.
If he makes it to day 5, he should sell the farm. I mean, nobody's there to farm it.
Here's a look at the current top 10. Canadian Jason Mann at the top, Maxx Steinberg in 4th.
2 Canadians in the top 5. Canada's had a wonderful World Series this summer, trying to extend it to the main event.
Setting up our featured table, Steve G, one of 2 Octo-Niners still in it.
Trying to go from October 9 to November 9, next year, December 9.
Golfer Blake Yu has had a memorable day 4.
Yeah, a bunch of pars, a couple nice birdies, and he holed one out from the bunker.
And the other 2012 Octo-Niner still in it is the defending champion Greg Merson.
A steady, mostly uneventful day 4 for Merson so far.
Merson, clearly the most recognizable name here, but plenty of tough players for him to contend with.
Merson and Steve G next to each other. They barely got to play together at last year's final table because G went out so quickly.
Grayson Ramage in the top 10, but he has the world champ on his left.
As a general rule, when your first name is Grayson, you don't worry about players on your left. You just play your game.
Yeah, we don't even have a lounge.
You don't get to go in Ivy's like RV or whatever? Or you do, right?
I just never hit him up on break.
The blinds at 6 and 12,000. A 2,000 chip ante is required right now. Sergei Stashkov from St. Petersburg, Russia, with pocket jacks under the gun. A raise to 25,000.
The white T-shirt making a comeback in St. Petersburg. It's a haphazardly dressed feature table. Where are Marcel Luce and Tony Dunst when you need them?
Well, Marcel's still playing in this event. Tony probably pressing VVP's sports coat about right now. Jacob Baisley, a poker pro, made 2 final tables this year at the World Series. Folds. Ramage on the button with ace-king.
He shared a house here in Las Vegas with Greg Merson last summer. They met each other in Toronto playing online poker.
25-year-old with a re-raise to 55,000. Steve G with pocket trays.
He'd like to come in, but he can't like the 3-bet.
Yep, folds his big blind. Stashkov now with the jacks has been re-raised.
Yeah, Stashkov considering his options now with the Lon McCarron Memorial hand.
I'm all in.
He's going to re-raise all in.
I call.
Ramage calls with the ace-king to put Stashkov on the block, but can he finish him off?
Pretty standard all-in and call here. Ramage with the big stack, risking less than 20% of it. Stashkov at risk.
4, Queen 7, 2 spades. Ace-king comes up shy. The jacks still lead for Stashkov.
Pocket jacks never win, Lon, so that flop just delays the inevitable.
We know that all too well. Turn card 9 of hearts. The jack's still good.
Ramage still looking for an ace or a king to bust Stashkov.
River card. Oh, there it is! Sergei Stashkov knocked out. Ramage scores the ace on the river.
Stashkov with a rueful smile. Ramage emotionless in executing a fellow player.
Sergei Stashkov will take the pocket jacks walk of shame. 279th place.
The executioner smiles now.
Should I tell them too?
No, that's all right. We'll keep that under wraps as long as we can here.
Sway show. Sway show.
Easy game. Oh yeah.
When you're running well and playing well, poker is an easy game. When you're missing every flop, the game feels foreign. So how does one deal with the peaks and valleys that the main event invariably presents level to level, day to day?
Let me try to give you an answer in poker parlance. Poker is an easy game, except when you get stacked. If you 3-bet, you need to be prepared to 5-bet in case you get 4-bet. He was priced in. You can't just play ABC poker. That would be so sick, which incidentally has nothing to do with illness. Running bad, bad luck, bad dealer. Running good, hit by the deck, bing, blang, blow. As usual, I have no idea what I'm talking about at this point, but that's poker.
On the graphic, you see 2012 Octo-Niner Russell Thomas was recently eliminated. The turn card is out at the table of Vic Sanella. He flopped a set of 4s. Ryan Fair flopped a straight flush draw. The chips have been flying, 372,000 in the middle.
Yeah, flop set versus monster draw.
Sanelli's action. And he says 250,000, strong bet.
Fair has cashed in 3 of the last 5 main events. He finished 31st in 09. Even against the set, Fair's getting the right price here to pursue his draws. 2.5 to 1 on a call.
Fair started the hand with 1.1 million, has Sinelli covered by a couple $100,000. This is Sinelli's first main event cash. River card, the 5 of clubs, one of the worst cards Fair could see there. He's got 2 pair now.
Yeah, that river card just isn't fair, Lon.
Sinelli says all in. I'm sorry you said that. Fair on his feet.
So sick. It's so sick, Lon. Well, he can't put Sinelli on a deuce or a 7 for a straight, and he could be up against something like ace-king, and he could beat ace-king. It's possible Sinelli also missed a flush draw, but would he really bluff shove?
I call. Ryan Fair calls. Sinelli delivers maximum pain, doubling up to nearly 1.8 million. And Ryan Fair gets another lesson on how this game is anything but.
Tough spot for Ryan Fair. Monster pot for Vic Sinelli. The 39-year-old Carnegie Mellon grad has chips.
And it's going to take a while for him to put those chips in order, but that's a good problem to have at the main event. To the featured table now, where Jacob Baisley called all in pre-flop with pocket kings, trying to double through Nick Schwarman and his ace-10.
Juice, there. I had ace-8 suited, but I thought it would look really strong. Yeah. It looks stronger. It does look pretty strong.
Tell me that now, Greg.
Sorry.
You may recall Schwarman trying to bluff Mercant.
All right, here's the flop. 7-9-8. Schwarman flops an open ender. More for Baisley to worry about.
Baisley played college basketball at Division II Christian Brothers University in Memphis.
Turn card is a jack, and Nick wastes no time filling his straight. He's free rolling. Baisley can only split the pot at best. 4 of clubs, no split. Baisley is done.
Baisley takes the tough beat and goes home.
Knocked out at 274th place. Josie plays. Jacob's girlfriend not happy about that.
What did tell you have an ace?
I didn't think you could hear me.
Demoralized me.
You're like 40 feet away. So
Schwarman with more ammo now to perhaps run another bluff on Mercant.
We could like play catch from this far away.
You probably could. Start throwing me all your chips.
Might as well play catch after Nick's nice catch. Schwarman back in the hunt. Welcome back to the Rio for Day 4 action of the 2013 main event. Such an exciting time of the event as players really begin thinking right now about the final table.
Last year I thought he was from Macau. I asked him if he was from Macau.
And what did he tell you?
It was the dumbest question ever because he's wearing a Raiders hat. Like, it's so stupid. And then once I went over there this year, I'm like, all right, he's definitely not from Macau.
There might be Raider fans in Macau.
It could just be a disguise.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple.
One player who's been to poker's promised land is Steve G, and his bust out was something he'll never forget.
The years gone by, and it goes by really quickly. At the time, you don't really think too much about it because it doesn't really even seem real. But now that I have some time to reflect back on it, I'm really happy with the way I played the main event final table until that one decision at the river.
Thomas does find it in himself to call, and Steve G will be the first casualty of this championship table.
Something that you're never, ever going to forget, to be so close to being the world champion and not getting there, because it was such a traumatic moment for me. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I'm always happy, never ever sad, never depressed, but that final table put me into a 2-month-long depression. I didn't go out, I didn't check my email, I didn't check my Twitter, didn't go on Facebook. The only people I saw during that 2 months was my immediate family and a couple of really close friends. I just felt, I don't know, I was just embarrassed to go out in public. I didn't want to show up in the casinos, I didn't play any cash games. The only thing you can do is try to do something positive, you know, to forget about that moment. I mean, because until I win another tournament, people are going to talk about the final table. After last year, the experience kind of taught me that, you know what, in spite of all the, you know, the massive field of great players, it's doable.
Well, Steve should be more proud than embarrassed. So hard to get to where he got. He misplayed a big hand, so be it.
On the button, G wakes up with kings here.
And look how far he's gotten again this year. 9th last year, and now he's already survived 95% of the field this year.
Impressive indeed. With the pocket kings, a raise to 25,000 in the small blind. Anthony Forsyth Forrest, a 25-year-old Brit who plays the game for a living with ace-6 off.
I hate hoodies, and I hate weak aces.
That's true. Well, He's putting some chips together. That's a re-raise, Norman. That's creative and timed poorly. 72,000.
He's in from out of town, Steve. Make him pay.
Big blind folded. Back to G. 47,000 to call.
Raise.
Nope. Just a call.
Gee, Steve, you've got to charge the guy a tourist tax. This is America.
All right, heads up the Kings against the ace-6. All right, here's the flop. 10, ace-5. Anthony gets what he came for. And he checks it.
He 3-bets with an ace hits the board, and he checks. Go figure.
Forsyth Forrest starting the hand with nearly $1 million. Now Steve G hates to see that ace holding the Kings. He checks. Turn card. 4 of spades. And the aces check again.
I don't like the way either guy is playing this hand. Get me Phil Hellmuth on the White Magic Hotline.
Now Steve G sitting with a below average stack.
Come on.
He says all in for his last 4, 31.
Well, that's not good. G's beat and he's covered. Big risk here for Steve G.
Anthony Forsyth Forrest went in with a weak ace. He hit the weak ace.
And that's what happens when you hit the weak ace. You're not sure if your ace is good enough. But from the flop on, Forsyth Forrest played the hand like he's a scaredy cat, and Steve G sensed weakness and pushed all in. But if the Brit finds a call in him, Steve G will need a 2-outer to survive.
Could this be Steve G's swan song? And Anthony lays the best hand down, and Steve G will stick around.
Nice hand, Stevie. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know what that means.
It's a value bet.
Well, value bet or bluff? Let's see what Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke thought about Steve G's power move.
Poker is all about risk versus reward, and I think that in this hand, Steve takes a risk that's not worth the reward.
It's almost like he's mini tilting from his slow play. I'm going to get a lot of chips because I'm not raising pre-flop, and then wham, wow, that flop's bad for me. Well, I know a way out. Let me just pile jam my way out. It's
and
like
look,
very
it worked.
dangerous.
We
Yeah.
can't argue with a play that worked. He got his opponent to fold the best hand, but I don't think that in the long term you're going to make a lot of money making this kind of play. I think it's a lot better to play in position. It's perfectly fine to check behind on the turn, go to the river, and see what happens.
But you have a pair?
Huh?
You have a pair?
Yep.
Better pair than yours.
I did have a pair.
We'll keep it here. Aussie pro Jackie Glazier now joins the table, bringing 1.1 million chips.
Jackie.
It's Jackie.
These two faced each other recently at World Series of Poker events in Australia. Merson with Queen 9 of Hearts. And welcomes Glazier with a raise to 25,000. Steve G folds to Glazier. Ace Queen off.
Jackie with a teaching degree from Deakin University in Melbourne. I believe they are the Horned Frogs. And by the way, if I'm moved to a new table, get dealt ace queen, and haven't even taken the chips out of my rack, I muck that ace queen without blinking.
The ace queen stands no chance with you regardless if you have any chips, which you usually can just carry from table to table in one hand.
Good for you.
Glazier with a re-raise to 62,000.
By the way, I'm disappointed in Merson, and let me preface this by saying he can do as he pleases, that he only showed up for a couple of World Series events before the main event. He went to Macau to play cash. He even went to a music festival instead of playing the 2500 4 Max here. Really? A concert over the World Series? He's got the rest of his life to go to Macau and concerts. I really wished he'd shown the World Series a little more respect and made it a priority the year after he was Player of the Year and won the main event.
Well, he will come along and see the flop, calling Jackie's re-raise. He's dominated by Jackie, though. Queen for king. Queen for both, but Glazier's kicker is the difference maker.
A music festival. Buy an iPod and earbuds like everyone else.
Greg checks.
Glazier in good shape here with her ace-queen, so I am wrong yet again.
Glazier getting busy early here. 85,000 is the bet. Merson likes that queen as well.
I think Merson's going to make a bad call here because he's thinking about whether to upgrade to business class on his next flight to Macau.
He can afford it. He makes the call.
All right, I'm done. I love Greg. We're Maryland forever, like Riggins and Jason Street. We're Texas forever.
Turn card now. 10 of spades brings a straight draw to both, but Merson's is no good. Merson checks again. Glazier could not shed Greg, so maybe the king worries her. She checks back. Another 10 on the river. Queen's up for both, but Glazier has the best hand.
Both seem to be unsure where they're at in this hand.
Greg has gone check, and he checks the river, as does Jackie.
Surprise, Glazier checked back. She had to be good there.
Jackie Glazier will take it, and Greg sends nearly a quarter of his stack to the newcomer. So Merson's chips now cut down to about $500,000. And Jackie Glazier announces herself to this feature table by taking a pot from the defending champ. Inside the Amazon room late on day 4, the Railbirds almost outnumber the players. There's Sarah Herzali. The Bond girl has a few chips.
She's down to under 15 big blinds. She needs some 00 agent help.
Another French woman, Estelle Denny, under 400,000, and that's well below average right now.
Popular TV anchor woman in France. She was 203rd at the 09 main event.
Christy Green, formerly Christy Gazes, sitting with 188,000 and a smile.
She leads me in marriages 4-3. I might not be able to catch her.
Time now for this week's side action, where 2 women who played in this year's event try go-karting with their significant others.
Sorry.
What's up? Ready for a little battle? This is one size fits all?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to look like little red smurfs.
You guys will be going really fast. You guys need to be careful. Safety first.
This is nice. After this, we can go rob like a 7-Eleven or something.
I think it's just a free-for-all. You just have to go for it.
We're going to win.
Please start your engine.
My driving style's sort of like I play poker.
Very aggressive. The way Jesse drives, like everything he does, a little spacey.
Right now we have Roxanne to first place, but Jesse Silva is close behind. The same bumper cars. And coming to the checkered flag, we have Doc Sands with a 24.7, and then the winner is Jesse Sylvia with a 24.6.
What the hell? You guys just didn't want Jesse to get second 2 years in a row. Coming in here today, I thought that the person who crossed the finish line first would be the winner. That was really fun, but I won. I'm pretty sure I won. In actuality, the person with the fastest lap time is the winner.
Oh,
second's pretty good, man. Trust me.
The problem for Doc Sands, he took 2 minutes every time to decide what gear to drive in.
At the secondary table, the 2 top stacks are 2 top pros, Norwegian Annette Obrestad, winner of the 07 World Series Europe main event, and WPT Championship winner of years past, Yevgeny Timoshenko, both of them holding $1.1 million in chips. Yevgeny folded, Annette with King Queen, a raise to $25,000.
Only 4.5% of the main event field were women this year. Annette Obrestad and Vanessa Selps, part of the vanguard of young, talented females in poker.
Vimy Ha folds his button. 26-year-old poker pro and pizzeria owner in Toronto, Alex Livingston with ace-jack and the small blind calls. Malherbe folds.
25.
We are heads up. And the flop between Annette and Alex Livingston. Queen 10 tray, a Broadway draw for Livingston, top pair for Annette. Livingston checked.
Speaking of women, what a breakthrough summer for 23-year-old New Yorker Lonnie Harwood. She won a bracelet and made 3 final tables at this World Series.
Annette bets 30,000, make them pay to stay.
Is that sweatshirt chartreuse lock?
I think so, it's a lot of it.
That's a lovely color this time of year.
Livingston called, turn card 4 of hearts. Livingston missed his draw there. Annette still best. Another check from Alex.
That's a pretty safe board for Annette's hand. She's got to believe she has the best of it here.
Chips in hand, over half the pot. That's 78,000.
Time to cut your losses, son. I'm an expert in cutting losses.
He cuts his losses, taking a minor hit. Annette moves over 1.2 million chips at this secondary table. Livingston with a healthy stack, hoping to continue a very fine World Series for Canadian players in general.
Obrestad won main event bracelet in Europe, followed by 8 World Series cashes here in Las Vegas.
Current payout right now for those eliminated over $37,000. Let's catch up with Maxx Steinberg, one of the extra large chip stacks. 10-8 suited, facing an all-in from Augie Spets, holding 2 aces.
You gonna call me now, Max? It's good.
Steinberg commits the chips.
You have that. I have the nut beater.
Spets was down to 6 big blinds.
I've been waiting for aces all day. Finally, they arrived.
All right, here's the flop. Steinberg going for the knockout. And Max gives Spets something to worry about, pairing his 8. 9 on the turn.
8 or a 10 knocks out Spets.
River card is a king.
Yes, thank God.
Spets has doubled up.
First double up. That was necessary.
You can't get the second double up without the first double up.
Max still holds over 2 million chips.
Well, that hand was chump change for Steinberg.
Spets staves off elimination for a little while at least.
Too bad I didn't have a little bit more though.
This is day 4 of the World Series of Poker main event. 7 days without being eliminated gets you to the final table in November. One player who will not have that chance is Marcel Lusk.
Poker always is a better place when Marcel Lusk is around.
Yeah.
4th main event cash in 11 years for the Flying Dutchman.
Finished 102nd last year. Jason Cohen still in contention, but his lofty stack has taken a hit.
He says his proudest moment is his wedding day, hoping to make the main event his second proudest moment.
The current big stack in the room, Kenosha, Wisconsin's Jonathan Lane, nearly 2.6 million.
12 World Series cashes for Lane, and this is the 3rd time he's made the money in the main event since 2005.
Well, you see Steve G was the oldest at last year's World Series main event final table, and at 58 now, he has the opportunity to be the oldest at this year's. Pocket deuces for G.
Last year, every single day, he never thought he'd make it to the next day. This year, every single day, I think he's determined to make it to the next day.
Open raises to 25,000. Glazier in the small blind. Folds 7-6 of diamonds. In the big blind, Anthony Forsyth Forrest, another weak ace.
He's got a great head of hair and a nice beard, but he's got to take off the hoodie and let them breathe more.
It looks like he wants to play another weak ace against Steve G.
Yeah, it's a rematch. The weak ace against the pocket pair again.
All right, here we go to the flop. G with the advantage with the small pocket pair. 7 tray queen. Middle pair for Forsyth Forrest. The deuces go the way of deuces when they don't flop a set. A check from Forsyth Forrest.
He again outflops G. I hate when sequels have the same storyline.
Steve G betting 35,000 on the flop.
Well, last time we saw G go all in on the turn with a 5% hand. This time he bets the flop with a 9% hand.
Anthony will come along with the call.
And G now formulating plan B. I hope it doesn't involve his watch.
Turn card now. King of spades. G still coming up short. Another check from Forsyth Forrest.
G took 20 years off from playing poker for a living, worked as a CPA. You know, an accounting degree, Lana, that's like an actuarial degree without the sex appeal.
G with the pocket deuces, the 5% pocket deuces. Looks like he wants to test the Brit. Enjoying his first main event cash, 57,000.
Last time G's all in pushed Forsyth Forrest off the best hand. G again trying to push out the Brit, who again has the best hand.
There's that weak ace lesson, Norman. He hit the ace before. Now he hit the kicker this time. There's nothing to do. And he folds again.
If you keep folding the turn with the best hand, you should be selling refrigerator magnets on the beach.
Steve G finds a way to win with the deuces.
And G can't stop bluffing.
And he's found a bit of an ATM in Anthony lately. Anthony worked hard for his 800,000 chips, so it's not always going to be that easy, but man.
No, G's fearless, like a Raiders defensive back who gets burned for a touchdown. You forget about it and you move on to the next play.
So Steve G having his way out there at the featured table. Let's go to the secondary table where Annette Obrestad and Yevgeny Timoshenko are running the show. That's Jean-Yves Malherbe, the Belgian sports journalist. 8-7 suited.
Was he married last year? I don't recall the wedding ring.
No, he just got married last October, actually. A raise to $26,000.
You shouldn't get married between main events without checking with me first.
He and his wife having their formal honeymoon when his main event is over. In the big blind, Timoshenko with pocket nines.
Pocket nines and looking good.
This is 17th World Series cash. He's earned over $1.1 million at World Series events in his career.
You're 550?
4, 5, 5, 9 behind. Oh, no. 5, 9 total.
Yevgeny getting a count on Malherbe. Makes the call.
Malherbe's got that badgered look on his face now. He's definitely married.
Poker amateur playing very well here again. The flop, King Deuce 4. The pocket nines come through the flop unscathed. Timoshenko checks. Malherbe takes a shot, 20,000.
Timoshenko very deliberate. He's slower than an inchworm with a bag of groceries.
And Annette has made no secret of the fact she thinks Yevgeny has to speed it up. There's a call.
And Malherbe double checking to make sure he still has squadouche.
Jack of hearts, a third heart. No red hole cards in this hand.
Rob Salaburo talks about how his quick play sometimes tilts opponents. Timoshenko's slow play might do the same.
Malherbe drawing dead. They both check. 7 of clubs on the river. Malherbe pairs his 7.
At the moment, Timoshenko is reciting the Gettysburg Address in his head. It's a timing mechanism he uses
to drive everybody crazy around him. Methodically, yellow, green, 28,000. Malherbe throws in a call quickly.
Timoshenko takes his time, but usually it's time well spent.
Yevgeny adds to his million chip stack. Malherbe loses a little chunk of his stack and 2% of his life waiting for Yevgeny.
Slow played it.
Did he say he slow played it or he played it slow? Huh?
I'm like him, I only play pocket pairs. Learning. Yeah.
He does only play pocket.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ace queen, but he almost folded it on the flop.
Twice. I almost folded it twice.
His style may frustrate some, but whatever Yevgeny Timoshenko is doing is working. He's definitely one to keep an eye on at this main event. It is the preeminent poker event on the calendar, the World Series of Poker Main Event. Day 4 almost in the books. 255 players left. Just 9 will make the final table.
It's like so important to just get to sleep right away.
Yeah, it's like it took like an hour to order room service last night. Yeah. That's what everyone does at the end of the day. It's annoying here.
But it'll be less and less every year.
That's true, yeah.
Grayson Ramage commiserating with Greg Merson. The main event can bring down even the toughest-minded poker pro, but Grayson is learning to deal with the challenge.
I hadn't played too many live tournaments before the summer I turned 21 when I came out and did the full series in Vegas. That was 2009. I decided to just buy into the main event, take all my own action when I had less than 100K to my name. So it was quite a big shot, but it worked out. I got 35th, and that's probably why I'm here today. Based on my last run, I'm a better poker player for sure now, more composed. It's easier to focus now. I'm used to playing long days. I would describe the main event as just a test of endurance, really. It's just 10 hours a day, day after day after day. It's really just comes down to who can be the most mentally strong and who can make the fewest mistakes, really. You just see so many blow-ups every year, and if you can really just minimize that, and it's really tough to play the best poker for, say, 70 hours, but that's really just what you got to try and do.
The 2010 Bucknell grad has an accounting degree, no accounting job, and 17 World Series cashes.
Grayson on the button. Anthony Forsyth Forrest open for 27,000 with ace 10, jack 10 for Ramage.
Forsyth Forrest has upgraded to a stronger ace line. It probably won't matter.
Ramage far and away the biggest chip stack at this table. 900,000 more than second place Jackie Glazier. Ramage re-raises to 65,000.
And now Forsyth Forrest mulling over whether he wants to fold the best hand on television for a third consecutive time.
Anthony made it through one entire year of college near London and took up poker. And he repops it to 132,000. There's the gumption.
Yeah, I like that line better. In no limit hold'em, attack mode usually beats defensive mode. Maybe Forsyth Forrest can make this ace work.
After Ramage, who's reaching for his stack, not his cards. Grayson Ramage, a 5-bet to 240,000.
Wow. Ramage saw something there and puts the heat back on Forsyth Forest.
Yeah, Ramage showing commitment, and that's how Steve G got some of Anthony's chips earlier.
Well, now they're playing at levels I can't reach, Lon.
Oh, and Anthony Forsyth Forest forced to fold again.
Forsyth Forest with the hat trick and Ramage with the strong play.
Boy, Ramage paying attention to action while not involved in a hand certainly contributed to his success there. Okay, to the outer tables we go. A battle royal going on. Seaver Jaw open for 25,000 with pocket aces. Nikolai Sears answered with a 3-bet holding pocket kings. Now Jaw has the ball.
Jaw, born and raised in San Francisco, attended UC Davis. Sears, 11 World Series cashes, including 4 this year.
Jaw with a re-raise to 175. This is going to end with someone very disappointed, Norman.
Yeah, well, in the old days, a 4 or 5 bet meant you had to have aces or kings, but these days the range is almost unlimited. Sears mulling it over with the second best starting hand in poker.
He's already asked for a count on Jaw's stack.
Oh yeah, I remember. I didn't even recognize it.
And he says all in, and a quick call from the aces of Jaw. A monster pot.
Pocket kings. Like seriously.
About 2/3 of Sears' big stack going down the drain with pocket kings. Oh, and he shoots Jaw an Ushka look.
All right, here's the flop. And there's a king for Sears.
Nice flop. Pocket kings look a whole lot better now, but you couldn't tell it by looking at Sears.
Turn card is a 10.
Oh,
Jaw
Jack.
adds outs with a Broadway
Jack
draw.
time. Come on. Me Jack. Boy, that card energized Jaw.
River card and ace. Oh my!
Get up! Get up! Get up, boy! Woo!
We expected drama, but nobody saw that coming.
It's all right. It's all summer, and they have to make it as cruel as possible.
This is a tough, cruel game. I prefer Go Fish.
A heart-stopping double up for Seaver Jaw gives him nearly 2 million chips. Sears could taste the knockout, but now it's rebuild time. Seaver Jaw has a stack people will pay attention to.
I really have.
Picking up the second best starting hand in Hold'em's great until you run into the best hand. Seaver Jaw, one of the big stacks in the room.
Get up! Get up!
Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. Cliff Josephy, better known as Johnny Backs, won his second World Series bracelet at the $3,000 No Limit Hold'em shootout for just shy of $300,000. Mark Radoja captured his second career bracelet. This one came in the 10K heads-up event. And in the seniors event, retired Army officer Kenneth Lynn bested the field of over 4,400 players and took home over $630,000. At the outer table, Sarah Herzali shoved with a small stack and a big ace. Phil Mader holds pocket eights.
And Herzali has noted Mader's name in her tablet in case anything happens to her.
Mader flops the set. The turn puts a straight draw on the board, but the river's a blank, and the Bond woman is out.
The farmer takes out the Bond girl. What kind of movie is this?
254th place. Herzali earns her biggest ever poker payday, over $37,000.
If I'm Phil Mader, I'd call security as a precaution.
Elsewhere, Yevgeny Timoshenko just flopped queens up and is a big favorite against Kansas poker pro Maxx Coleman's jacks up.
2 big hands, Coleman in trouble.
Timoshenko. Deliberate as usual. 90,000.
Coleman trying to follow in the footsteps of Dan Harrington. Both chess champions turned poker pros. And of course, Action Dan won the 1995 main event title.
Double X. Maxx Coleman has to feel pretty good about that board. And there's a call. 367,000 in the middle. 5 of spades. Timoshenko still leads.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
No, there's not
3
enough Mississippis.
4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi. Oh, this time it's fast acting Timoshenko. Not quite yet.
He's not out there yet. All right, 166,000. Both of these players working with million chip stacks.
Coleman from Kansas. Everyone takes their time there, so Max is used to the slower pace of life. In fact, why is everybody in such a rush?
Coleman now puts in 166,000 of his own.
We're off to the river, Lon, and I'm excited to get there.
Timoshenko way ahead and remains ahead with that 9 of hearts. Evgeny checks this time.
Maybe Coleman will bet at it now.
Nope, he does not. And Evgeny will take a nice pot from a fellow big stack.
My man is slow but steady. Timoshenko plays a mean no-limit hold'em.
Yevgeny Timoshenko over 1.5 million chips now late on day 4. To another outer table. We saw Augie Spets double earlier through Max Steinberg. Now he's trying to go through Jason Mann. Spets at risk, sweating it out with ace-queen. Mann, the Vancouver attorney, has ace-jack.
Spets is growing on me, and I think I like the lawyer too.
Here's the flop. Ace-8-7, Spets with the better kicker.
The flop's good for Spets, and the lawyer can't object.
Another 8, Spets holds on to his advantage.
Only a jack knocks out Spets.
The river card, 5 of clubs. That secures another double up.
All he knows is how to double up short stacked.
Spets still dangerously small, though.
Still in. This is hard. Double up.
A mosquito bite to the stack of man.
Double down. Nice in. Thank you.
Supposed to show me like king queen there. I think I'm gonna show you a lot more.
What kind of cards do you think I go all in with? Send me with aces over. That's the last. That's the worst time I go all in with.
I caught you at the bottom of your range.
Yeah. How can you call with this jack there?
I'm a fish.
We have a little second.
Spets keeps himself in the game as the clock winds down on day 4. Very busy outside the Rio, but no signs of Phil Hellmuth at the Valet. 243 players left on day 4. Average stack 26 times what the players started with on day 1. Augie Spets and Jason Mann at it again. Spets with king, queen of clubs. Mann with 6-5 of clubs, both with 35,000 in the pot.
Do you have your favorite hand?
My favorite? What's my favorite?
Ace 10.
I think I call with ace 10. Not crazy either.
2 clubs in the flop.
I hit well there, if I did.
Man, a likable lawyer. He's a criminal defense attorney. His wife Janet is a personal injury attorney. Naturally, they went to the same law school, and I'm sure their 2 children will become lawyers.
Man with the lesser of the flush draws puts Spets all in. Augie calls.
Perfect.
Spets getting the better of Man again.
Spets looking for another double up.
Oh, what a good hand that would be if I managed to double up now.
I like your chances here.
I have some odds. Pretty good odds.
Turn card deuce of spades. Spets 1 card from doubling. River's a queen, and Spets does it again.
Back in the game. Yes. Back in the game.
100, exactly.
Finally, I can play poker again.
If all he does is double up, he's never eliminated, right? So the former IT manager might double up all the way to the November 9.
Oh, I hate to be short stacked.
To Spets, 25 big blinds right now feels like 2,500 big blinds.
Oh, that feels massive good. Was perfect to see your hand there. Absolutely unbelievable.
Augie rubbing it in, but man still has 1.7 million leftover chips. All right, let's get back to the feature table now. Grayson ramaged the top stack over there, sitting now with 2.5 million chips. Steve G under the gun. Folds to Jackie Glazier with pocket aces.
She was 284th in the main event last year. Also runner-up in another World Series event last year. That was worth almost $500,000 to her.
Her live poker earnings fall just shy of $1 million. If she hangs on here a little longer, Jackie will reach that milestone at the Rio. A raise to 27,000. Mr. Forsyth Forrest with pocket 4s.
Folds. He just folded a hand in which he was beat, so that's a start.
Blake Yu folds to the button. Evandro Vitor de Queiroz, a Brazilian poker pro. He gets out of the way. Now the big stack. Ramage with ace-10. He gives it up. Merson with queen deuce of spades.
It's queen deuce in the big blind. Why bother? You're the world champ. Muck it and go play a cash game for 5 minutes.
Used to play online 80 hours a week, 24 tables at a time. He makes the call.
Well, remember last year when he couldn't beat Elizabeth Hill in a pot? Maybe Glazier is this year's Elizabeth Hill.
Maybe. Jack, ace, Trey, all hearts. Glazier flops a set. Merson missed that completely. Merson checked.
Oh, no free ones, Jackie. Merson could have a flush draw or a straight draw. No free draws in a market-driven capitalist democracy.
Nothing free for Merson. Jackie's got her hands on chips. That's 33,000. Rick Merson can say good night, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not budging yet.
No, he's not.
I thought it was a slow fold, but it's not.
Greg raises to 102,000.
Merson in a larcenous mood at the wrong time. He's trying to rob a Brinks armored truck with a pair of scissors.
I'm all in.
And Jackie re-raises Merson all in, and he snap folds.
Yeah, that ends that. In 2012, Merson's timing was absolutely impeccable. Here, he misses the mark.
Jackie Glazier getting stronger at this featured table, enjoying her third main event cash. So now the end of the evening, time to bag up chips. Get ready for day 5. August Spetz has a bag, and so does Annette Obrestad.
Just once, I'd like to see someone stick an apple or a tangerine in there so they can have some fruit to start the next day.
Yevgeny Timoshenko had a great day 4.
He probably took his time bagging each different color of chip in his stack.
Average chip stack. I lost about 10 million in the past couple hours. It was not fun.
Phil Mader made day 5.
But the Bond girl is waiting for him in the Rio parking lot.
Steve G bluffed his way to a bigger stack and is on to day 5. Defending champ Greg Merson will join him.
Nothing bothers him. Maybe nothing will bother him to another final table.
Yevgeny is pleased with his progress.
I obviously ran really well. I flopped some really big hands. I got paid off. I won all wins. Things went great, but it was smooth sailing. I can't really ask for a better day.
Despite his progress, Yevgeny Timoshenko not in the top 10, but Jonathan Lane is. He is the chip leader for Lane, a great day 4 that he hopes will carry on to day 5.
Well, I started out the day with 958,000. I have 2.8 million. So I'm sitting good, had a good day, ran well, and I'm happy, and hopefully tomorrow will be another good day, and just keep it going.
The halfway point of the World Series of Poker main event has been crossed. 2 2012 Octo Niners are still alive, but headed in different directions.
I'm all in.
Send Stevie. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know what that means.
It's a value bet.
One thing remains constant. Every pot is absolutely critical.
Oh, that feels massive good.
For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.